Chapter 1916. So it's Lord Seven Rain Monarch. I wonder if Lord Monarch has any plans for Night Sorrow? Night Sorrow asked. Nothing much. I just want to talk to you for a bit. Come to my residence? The Seven Rain Monarch sized up Night Sorrow. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. Lord Monarch's residence? Isn't that too far? I can't leave right now. Night Sorrow hesitated before speaking. It's not far. I have a residence in Nine Heavens City. Let's go. The Seven Rain Monarch waved his arm and wrapped Night Sorrow in energy as they began to fly. A moment later, they arrived in front of a luxurious residence. In front of the residence, the Seven Rain Monarch released Night Sorrow, who was wrapped in energy. This is my residence in Nine Heavens City. Don't experts cultivate their bodies and minds, and live in simple and elegant courtyards? Yi Shan said as he looked at the incomparably luxurious mansion. You don't want to live a good life and choose to live like a monk? That's stupid. There's something wrong with your mind. The Seven Rain Monarch scoffed at Night Sorrow's opinion. That's not it either. Maybe it's because we have different pursuits. Night Sorrow said. Maybe. Come, let's go in and have a cup of tea. Then you can go back. You might have to go into seclusion from tomorrow onwards. The Seven Rain Monarch swayed his skirt and entered the residence. Night Sorrow had no reason not to enter. Besides, Night Sorrow felt that the Seven Rain Monarch didn't have any evil intentions. A monarch wouldn't have any thoughts about a holy king. Even if he did, he wouldn't have to waste so much effort. There were too many ways. Sit. I just have a few things to say. Those bastards are all watching. If I don't talk to you today, I won't have the chance tomorrow. The Seven Rain Monarch said. Lord Seven Rain's Monarch, please speak. I, Night Sorrow, am all ears, Night Sorrow said. Have some tea first. It's like this. You are from a small world, and the profound heaven world is not your home. It doesn't matter which large world you live in. This Great One has invited you to the Seven Rain world, and you can join this Great One's Seven Rain Valley. You don't have to be in a hurry to reject. The Seven Rain Sovereign brewed a pot of tea and poured a cup for Night Sorrow. Master Monarch, I am a half-king now. Even a king shouldn't be so serious, right? Night Sorrow said with a smile. Yes, but you are different. I have high hopes for you. You might not agree for the time being. Young people are stubborn. So whenever you have any ideas, you can come to the Seven Rain world to find me. This is my messaging crystal. Take it. The Seven Rain Monarch tossed a messaging crystal to Night Sorrow. Lord Monarch, is this appropriate? Night Sorrow was a little taken aback, because the Seven Rains Monarch's words were very formal and very serious. It's appropriate. When you are in danger, you can crush this messaging crystal. I might be able to help you once. However, when that time comes, don't reject this Great One. The Seven Rains Monarch said with a smile. Thank you for your kindness, Seven Rains Monarch. Night Sorrow will remember your kindness today. Night Sorrow stood up and clasped his hands towards the Seven Rains Monarch. Good. You have to go to the Will of Heaven and Earth cave to cultivate within the next 100 years. When you come out of seclusion, you might be greeted with a storm. The Grey Cloud Monarch and the Moon Monarch are both vengeful people. They will not let you off easily. If you can't take it, the Seven Rains world is a good place for you to go. The Seven Rains Monarch said with a smile. Night Sorrow will remember. Night Sorrow nodded. All right, then you can go back. I think the people around you are also very anxious. The Seven Rains Monarch said when he saw Night Sorrow. After clasping his hands towards the Seven Rains Monarch again, Night Sorrow walked out of the mansion's main hall. Just as Night Sorrow was about to leave the main hall, the Seven Rains Monarch said, Night Sorrow, this Great One is very curious about your title. Is it convenient for you? If it's convenient, you can tell me. This Great One is too curious. It's fine if it's inconvenient. Standing at the entrance of the main hall, Night Sorrow considered whether he should say it or not. If he said it, it might cause trouble. If he didn't say it, he would be letting down the Seven Rains Monarch's kindness. It would make him feel uncomfortable. I received a title when I was in the small world. In the Nine Heavens Pagoda, this title has been strengthened. It is now called Immortal. Night Sorrow said and walked out of the main hall. Don't worry. This great one will keep this secret for you. Before you have the power to protect yourself, you have to keep it a secret as well. When Night Sorrow walked out of the mansion, the Seven Rains monarch's voice entered Night Sorrow's ears. Hearing the Seven Rains monarch's words, Night Sorrow felt at ease. The Seven Rains monarch's words were kind. If he had bad intentions, he wouldn't have been able to leave this mansion. After Night Sorrow left, the Seven Rains monarch couldn't calm down for a long time. She knew that she was right about Night Sorrow. The immortal title was too terrifying. Even monarchs didn't dare to say that they were immortal. As for whether Night Sorrow's title was official or not, the Seven Rains monarch didn't doubt it. She didn't understand the world Night Sorrow had lived in. Perhaps it was very small. The title bestowed to Night Sorrow might not be official. However, this time, Nine Heavens world recognized Night Sorrow's title. The title was strengthened by the Nine Heavens pagoda. This meant that it was effective. At the very least, the Nine Heavens world recognized it. What was the situation in the Nine Heavens world? It was the core of a group of worlds. It was a large world in the 100 worlds. The recognition of the Nine Heavens world was equivalent to the recognition of the heavenly Tao. Good. The Nine Heavens world group finally has an outstanding youth. The Seven Rains monarch took a big sip of tea and said. Night Sorrow left the Seven Rains monarch's mansion and flew directly to the guest house. Haha, you're back. You've been drinking for so long. Qian Zhenyu said with a smile. At this time, there was a banquet in the courtyard of the guest house. Night Sorrow's parents, Wu Lingfei, Zhu Juyun, Xuexi, and Night Sorrow's 3 wives were all present. Night Sorrow wasn't from the Xiantian dynasty, but he was from the mysterious sky world. The mysterious sky world was the representative of the mysterious sky world. Night Sorrow had done his best to win face for the mysterious sky world, which meant that he had won glory for the mysterious sky world. Sorry. I've made everyone wait for a long time. Night Sorrow said. You're so domineering. This time, you showed off a lot. Qian Ziwei said with a smile. It wasn't easy. Night Sorrow nodded at Qian Ziwei. Is not equal to miao is not equal to bai is not equal to ga is not equal to. It really wasn't easy. Although you drank one meal, you still have to drink this one. Qian Zhenyu said. Brother, you're so domineering. Qian Yu said as he patted Night Sorrow's shoulder. After drinking, Qian Zhenyu said. Your original body will go into seclusion. Your clone will stay behind. You can be with your family and deal with some trivial matters. I think so too. It's meaningless for my clone to follow my original body to cultivate. It's better to go back and cultivate blacksmithing and array formation. Night Sorrow nodded. Brother, when you return to the mysterious sky world, come to the mysterious sky world first. Take your siblings and have a good time. They've been worried sick for the past few days. Qian Yu said with a smile. After returning to his room, Night Sorrow pondered. He felt that it would be difficult for him to have peace in the future. This time he had stirred up trouble. He was worried that the Tianding Gate wouldn't be able to withstand the revenge of the Tsangyan monarch and the Moon monarch. Chapter 1917. Then, Beixing brought the 8-dragon cauldron to the 2 extreme cities teleportation array. The guards of the 2 extreme cities teleportation array stopped Beixing. I want to go to the 9-domain world. I'm Night Sorrow's friend. Beixing said. Hearing that he was Night Sorrow's friend, the guards let him go because Yen Tianpo's voice transmission had reached their ears. After 2 teleportations, Beixing arrived at the city in the sky. After exiting the city in the sky's teleportation array, Night Sorrow, Xuexi and the rest came out of the 8-dragon cauldron. Comfortable. Night Sorrow stretched his back. At this moment, Xikong Qiyu, Yang Lei and Aoi appeared in front of Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow did not say anything, and went forward to hug each of them. Why did you come back? Yang Lei asked. Can you come back home and let me have a cup of tea first? Oh right, this is my friend Beixing. He's a very good friend. Night Sorrow introduced. The 3 sisters are so beautiful. Meilan, Qiuju. Each has their own style. Night Sorrow, you're so lucky. Beixing said with a smile. Then, the group arrived at Night Sorrow's residence. Yang Lei also went to the space-time pagoda to inform those who had not broken through that Night Sorrow had returned. After a while, everyone who was cultivating in the space-time pagoda came out. Seeing Night Sorrow, everyone was very happy. Under his mother's Yuqing's questioning, Night Sorrow told her about his situation in the sky profound world. Of course, he did not say anything about the dangerous things. Then Night Sorrow told her about his thoughts and decision. Great! After we have our own city, we will have a firm foothold in the sky profound world. Sky Underworld Saint said happily. Currently, we can only build and not make it public because we can't withstand the attacks of others. We can only wait for Night Sorrow to enter the King realm before we have the capital to establish ourselves. Zhu Juyin said. That's right. We can't publicize it for now, but the construction of the city can begin, Night Sorrow said. Without a King realm cultivator, we don't have enough confidence. I don't know how long it will take for our faction to have a King realm cultivator. It's quite depressing, Jun Xuanji sighed. This is the situation that no one is clear about. If it wasn't for Yi Shang wanting to achieve greater things, he might have already entered the sovereign king realm. Wu Lingfei smiled and explained Yi Shang's situation. Hearing this, everyone was stunned. King's realm was unreachable in their eyes. It was a realm that was very far away. Everyone only had a wish for a king to appear in the Nine Realms world. But now, Wu Lingfei said that Night Sorrow had already reached this level. Night Sorrow is now a dual attribute half-step king. Once he takes another step forward, king will be no match for him, Zhu Juyin said. All right. Long Xianxing roared. This roar gave everyone a fright. Commander, leave the construction of the city to us. You can go and cultivate in peace, Long Xianxing said. After a discussion, everyone felt that it was very suitable to place the transfer array in the city in the sky. This was because there were no outsiders here, and everyone was a core member of the Nine Realms world. Everyone agreed, and Yi Shang set up the inter-realm teleportation array not far from the side of the mansion. Night Sorrow set up 1,000 derivation illusionary array outside the transfer array. At the same time, he told everyone that if anything happened, they just had to insert spirit stones and the array would activate. After installing the realm teleportation crystal, it lit up. Night Sorrow brought everyone to the Seven Knights Mountain to take a look. Everyone was very satisfied with this place, and felt that it was very suitable to build the base of the Nine Realms world here. Father, the transfer array is in the city in the sky, in the territory of the Night Moon Empire. There are more craftsmen building the Seven Knights city in the Night Moon Empire. Night Sorrow said to Yi Wuyo. All right, that's not a problem. But building a city requires planning and resources. Yi Wuyo nodded. There are spirit stones in here. Father, take them and deal with them as you see fit. Night Sorrow took out 5 to 6 storage rings. Son, we can use the resources of the Nine Realms world directly. So we can't use the spirit stones, Yuqing said with a smile. Night Sorrow, we can do this. Build a secret transfer array in the Big Dipper city, and send your people there to purchase resources from other places, then bring them over, Beixing said. Yes, but the people purchasing the resources are too weak. If they are not strong enough, they will be suspicious. Senior Long Xiansheng, you can arrange it as you see fit. But the people who have been to the Tianding Gate must not show themselves, or they will be targeted. Also, set up an ordinary transfer array to connect to other places. The transfer array is currently a secret of the Seven Knights city, so it must be hidden well, Night Sorrow said. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, everyone nodded. The transfer array is extremely valuable, and we cannot afford to lose it. Although the transfer array cannot be attacked, there must be people guarding it. If there is a problem, crush my soul crystal. Night Sorrow gave a soul crystal to Long Xiansheng. Then he changed to another area and set up another transmission array. Since the transmission crystals were installed, the transmission arrays were separated from the ordinary ones. This way it would be safer. Then, Night Sorrow asked Wu Lingfei and Zhu Juyin's clone to stay here. Originally, Night Sorrow wanted Xueshi to stay as well, but Xueshi was unwilling. She felt that Night Sorrow had to have someone by his side. Then Night Sorrow, Beixing, and Xueshi left the Seven Knights Mountain and returned to the Big Dipper city. Under Beixing's suggestion, Night Sorrow set up a transfer array in Beixing's private residence. There were guards in Beixing's residence, and Beixing instructed them to destroy the transfer array if any strangers attacked here. G. Cool Square Root. A Craftsman Net version 6. Not long after Night Sorrow set up the transfer crystal, Long Xianxing, Xian Wenxiu, and the others arrived. Night Sorrow, one of your people should stay here. This way, it will be easier to identify the people entering and leaving the transfer array. The guards in my residence can fight, but they will not recognize your people, Beixing said. Then I will do it, Shangluo said. Night Sorrow set up another transfer crystal on the transfer array in Beixing's residence. He wanted to set up a transfer array in the Sage Pavilion as well. This way, even if someone was watching him, he could return to the Nine Regions world without any problems. Night Sorrow felt that everything was almost done. He did not have to worry about the construction of the Seven Nights world anymore. Yi Shang calmed down in the Celestial Master Pavilion, but the rest of the world was not. The sovereigns were all wondering whether Yi Shang had obtained the soul cultivation liquid or not. Although they had guessed that Yi Shang's chances of getting it were slim, there was still a chance. If there were only 3 drops, then other than Lord Xiantian, no one else would have a chance. But what if there were more than 3 drops? If a sovereign went to another sovereign's world, there would be a reason. If a sovereign went to the Xian celestial realm to look for Night Sorrow, Lord Xiantian would not tolerate it. Chapter 1918. The Zhongyun sovereign did have this thought in mind. However, the consequences of starting a realm war would be dire. He needed to find allies. In terms of strength, the Grey Cloud sect was not strong enough. The Grey Cloud sovereign could only control slightly more than half of the Sky Dome realm's strength, because the No Beginning sovereign still controlled a portion of it. Furthermore, the portion controlled by the No Beginning sovereign was the elite force. In comparison, the Xian celestial realm only had one ruler, the Xiantian monarch. The entire Xian celestial realm was under the control of the Xiantian monarch. The Ashen Cloud sect was unable to fight against an entire realm. After pondering for a moment, the Zhongyun monarch teleported to the Demon Moon world. Just as the Grey Cloud sovereign arrived at the Demon Moon world, the Demon Moon sovereign appeared. Of course, it was his sole avatar. Zhongyun, why have you come to my Moon Demon world? The Moon Demon world overlord looked at the Zhongyun monarch and asked, You didn't show up recently because of the continent of the 9 clouds. Do you want to be as strong as Monarch Shinshao? Now we have an opportunity, the Zhongyun sovereign said. Moon Monarch's face darkened when he heard that Zhongyun monarch mention the 9 heavens realm. He had lost face because of the 2 monarchs from the 9 heavens realm. What is the meaning of this? What is the meaning of this? Net 0-inch soul nurturing liquid. The reason why the Divine Firmament sovereign is so much stronger than us is because he once used the soul cultivation liquid to nourish his soul. His soul power is strong, and the will of heaven and earth is more effective than us. However, we might have a chance now, the Zhongyun sovereign said. If there's such a good thing, you Ash Cloud will go crazy and snatch it. Will you think of others? I, the Moon Demon sovereign, am not someone you can use as a tool. The Moon Demon sovereign narrowed his eyes as he looked at the Grey Cloud sovereign. The Zhongyun sovereign pondered for a moment before explaining the whole story to the Moon Demon sovereign. You mean there is a high possibility? Moon Monarch asked after a moment of thought. Naturally, the Ashen Cloud sect has to be the vanguard when fighting against the profound celestial realm. Tell me, do you think I would do this if it was impossible? The Ashen Cloud sovereign asked. Have you thought about it? If we join forces and declare war on the Xian celestial realm, will the Xian celestial realm find other allies? Qiyu, Hailan and Tengxi are all on good terms with him, so I won't do it. You can go back now. The Moon Monarch waved his hand at the Zhongyun monarch, indicating that he was sending off his guest. The Grey Cloud sovereign exhaled deeply as he sat on the teleportation array and left. The Demon Moon sovereign wasn't willing to form an alliance. His plan for a realm war could only go down the drain. The Moon Demon monarch sneered as he watched the Zhongyun monarch leave. He would never engage in a life-and-death battle with the profound celestial realm. That would be equivalent to sacrificing 800 of his own men. However, he would never let go of the opportunity to obtain the soul cultivation liquid. After returning to the Demon Moon Hall, the Demon Moon monarch gathered his subordinates, the Beginner King, and ordered them to capture Night Sorrow at all costs. Demon Moon Monarch's 3 junior kings immediately accepted the order and went to the mystic celestial realm to look for Night Sorrow. After the Tsongyun sovereign returned to the Tsongyun sect, he also made the same arrangements. Since the battle of forces could no longer continue, they could only continue with the one-on-one battles. However, he knew that the chances of success were very low. If Night Sorrow wanted to hide, it would be very difficult to find him. Furthermore, the Black Heaven Sovereign was also protecting him. Night Sorrow knew that the world would be very chaotic. Therefore, he and Xueshi stayed in the Sage Master Pavilion and lived a quiet life. Night Sorrow spent his days refining pills, refining weapons, and cultivating his combat skills. This was because he still needed to cultivate the combination of the 3 combat skills that he had just researched. There was still room for improvement. While Xueshi was taking care of Night Sorrow, she was also guiding Ning Yun and Qiyue in their cultivation. Ning Yun and Qiyue knew about the relationship between Xueshi and Night Sorrow. Although they were not husband and wife in name, they were no different from husband and wife. The two of them called Xueshi aunt. Night Sorrow also frequently guided Ning Yun and Qiyue in their cultivation. He would explain his recent cultivation of energy techniques to the two of them. Master, after reaching the Saint Realm, one has to rely on the power of laws to fight. Does that mean that energy techniques are useless? Qiyue asked. In the past, I had the same idea as you. However, that is not the case. Let me demonstrate it to you. Night Sorrow said. In fact, after entering the Saint Realm, he had neglected the research and development of energy techniques. Night Sorrow pulled out the Space Splitter Spear from his back. With a shake of his hand, he executed the Space Whirling Dragon Kill. The combination of shock wave and wave force attack blasted a black hole the size of a water tank in the space in front of him. Looking at the shocked Ning Yun and Qiyue, as well as Xueshi, whose eyes were filled with astonishment, Night Sorrow waved his hand and flattened the black hole. What kind of combat skill is this? Xueshi asked. Space Whirling Dragon Kill, Space Shockwave, and Desolation Shock Force. Night Sorrow said. These days, when he was cultivating, his energy was restrained. Therefore, Xueshi and the others did not know the power of Night Sorrow's combat skills. Master, I was wrong. This is too powerful. I have to cultivate it. Qiyue bowed to Night Sorrow. Take your time. It's fine as long as you understand the concept correctly. Night Sorrow said. After explaining the theory of energy exertion skills to Ning Yun and Qiyue, Night Sorrow went to refine pills. He had collected a lot of pill materials in the Boundless Soul Realm. Half a month had passed. Ning Yun and Qiyue planned to go out to gain experience, because actual combat was the best way to temper people. Night Sorrow did not object to the two's experience. Night Sorrow also never objected to such things. What he could do was to guide them carefully and help them with some resources. Shortly after Ning Yun and Qiyue left, Bei Xing came. She told Night Sorrow that the primary king of the Demon Moon Realm, Grey Cloud Sect, and Elemental Spirit Realm had all arrived in the mysterious Celestial Realm. Their target was obviously Night Sorrow. All of this was within Night Sorrow's expectations. Now that he was back, whether he got the soul cultivation liquid or not, the other party would make plans according to what he got. For this, Night Sorrow felt that there was no need to pay attention to it. The courtyard he lived in had an array formation that isolated probing. It was very difficult for the other party to find him. He still needed to refine pills and forge tools. Bei Xing supported Night Sorrow's idea. If Night Sorrow did not move, there would not be any trouble. The Grey Cloud Sect did not get any benefits when they came to Big Dipper City last time. Now they would not be too presumptuous in Big Dipper City. After 2 days of peace, Bei Xing brought news again. The news made Night Sorrow feel disgusted. The spies of the Sky South dynasty had once again acted as the lackeys of the Grey Cloud Sect. Despicable people are really invincible. Xueshi's face was full of killing intent. Well, there will be a day to deal with them, so don't worry. Night Sorrow was now used to the despicable conduct of the Sky South dynasty. In addition, the primary king of the Scarlet Fire Sovereign has also come from the Scarlet Fire world. The mysterious celestial realm has really become the core of the turmoil. Bei Xing shook her head helplessly. Night Sorrow just smiled. The tree wants to be quiet, but the wind will not stop. This was the portrayal of his current situation. What could he do? The only thing he could do was to stabilize and wait for his main body to break through. After his main body broke through, the fighting strength of Night Sorrow's clone would increase. Chapter 1919. I see. That's much safer. It's very difficult for a beginner king to kill me. In the boundless soul world, it's not like I haven't escaped from an intermediate king, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Without an intermediate king, Night Sorrow wasn't too afraid. But in fact, sometimes you don't look for trouble, but trouble comes to you. Night Sorrow wanted to cultivate quietly, but trouble came again. Ning Yun returned with serious injuries. Looking at the seriously injured Ning Yun, Night Sorrow frowned. Where's Chiyue? Master, I'm sorry. I didn't protect junior sister Chiyue well. Junior sister Chiyue was captured. Ning Yun knelt on the ground, bleeding from the corner of her mouth. Yishan's expression was very ugly. He attached great importance to Chiyue's safety. He stretched out his hand to help Ning Yun up, and then sent a stream of energy to stabilize Ning Yun's injuries. Tell Master about the situation. Who captured your junior sister? Yinmen sect. Junior sister lacked a main ingredient for alchemy, so we went to Yinmen Mountain to look for it. In the end, we encountered people from Yinmen sect's Dongyan Mountain Hall. They spoke rudely and said that they wanted to capture junior sister Chiyue and give her to the young hall master as a concubine. After a fight, I was thrown off a cliff. I didn't die, so I came back to report, Ning Yun said. Night Sorrow took out a map and circled it, finding the location of Yinmen Mountain Range's Dongyan Mountain. Exhaling, Night Sorrow put away the map and handed Ning Yun a bottle of pills. Take the pills to heal your injuries. Shueshi, take care of this place. I'll go with you, Shueshi said. No need. If it works, I can do it myself. If it doesn't work, it's useless for you to follow. Don't mention this to anyone for the time being. Night Sorrow entered the teleportation array after saying that. When he arrived at North Star's residence, Night Sorrow put on his mask. After leaving North Star's residence, Night Sorrow entered the teleportation array. Originally, Night Sorrow had planned to go to Seven Nights Mountain and then fly to Mount Dongyan. That would be relatively safe, but after some calculations, Night Sorrow felt that it was a waste of time. Time was of the essence, so even if it was risky, he had to teleport. Night Sorrow entered the teleportation array and teleported away for a while. A beginner king frowned. A half-step king? This doesn't match with Big Dipper City's half-step king. Could it be him? However, by the time he entered the teleportation array, Night Sorrow had already disappeared. After a few teleportations, Night Sorrow arrived at Yinmen City. Then he flew towards Dongyan Mountain. There was a teleportation array in Yinmen City that led to the entrance of Dongyan Mountain. Night Sorrow didn't teleport there directly because he felt that it would attract attention and would be detrimental to the rescue. After flying to Mount Dongyan, Night Sorrow activated the 9 regions origin beads and began searching with his soul power. Saving Chiyue was his top priority. If something happened to her, it would be useless even if he massacred the gate of Yenshan sect. In Night Sorrow's heart, the entire gate of Yenshan sect wasn't as important as Chiyue. After probing the teleportation array, Night Sorrow brandished his Void Splitter Spear and destroyed it. He knew that a battle was inevitable, so he destroyed the teleportation array first. After destroying the teleportation array, Night Sorrow continued to investigate Mount Dongyan. However, at that moment, someone had already discovered Night Sorrow. It was a 1-star king. Who are you? How dare you act presumptuously in my Yinmen Mountain? The 1-star king roared at Night Sorrow. I don't have time to deal with you now. Scram. Night Sorrow growled. Night Sorrow used the spatial law to increase his speed and search for traces of Chiyue in Mount Dongyan. The 1-star king chased after him, but his speed was on a completely different level from Night Sorrow's. Yanfei was shocked. He was a king, but his speed was far inferior to Night Sorrow, who was a half-step king. If he couldn't catch up to Night Sorrow, then no one in Gate of Yenshan sect's Mount Dongyan could contend with Night Sorrow. While Night Sorrow dodged Yanfei's pursuit, his soul power swept through the entrance of Mount Dongyan. He still hadn't found Chiyue. When he couldn't find Chiyue on the main peak of Mount Dongyan, Night Sorrow began to circle the main peak in search. As for Yan Fei, the Earth Attribute 1-star king, Night Sorrow didn't care. He couldn't catch up to him at all. When he flew to the side peak, Night Sorrow's eyes were filled with anger. He found traces of Chiyue. In the hall of a courtyard, Chiyue was hung up. Her body was covered in blood. 2 women were waving leather whips at her. Another man was sitting on an armchair, drinking wine and saying unbearable words. What made Night Sorrow's guts burst was that Chiyue's right arm and right leg were twisted irregularly. It was obvious that they had been broken. I don't agree. If you don't agree, we'll play once. Although it's a pity, I can accept it, said the man sitting on the armchair. He was Yan Fei's grandson Yan Jinghua. Hee, you're overthinking it. At most, I'll die. Don't even think about getting your way. Chiyue sneered. Even if you die, I'll still get my way. Yan Jinghua laughed sinisterly. Master. Uncle, you'll take revenge for Chiyue. Chiyue won't be able to stay by your side to make tea for you. Chiyue raised her head and muttered. She planned to end her own life. She didn't have any regrets because she knew that Night Sorrow would take revenge for her. In her heart, Night Sorrow was not only her master but also her uncle. Today, I'll take revenge for you in front of your eyes. As soon as Night Sorrow finished speaking, his body appeared in the hall. Night Sorrow waved his space splitter spear, and the 2 women holding leather whips had their heads chopped off by a spatial blade. Night Sorrow waved his left arm and cut off the chains on Chiyue's body, pulling her to his side. Master, I want him dead. Chiyue grabbed Night Sorrow's robes with her left hand and said to Yan Jinghua, Good. Master promises you that today, blood will flow like a river. Night Sorrow nodded to Chiyue. Shameless boasting. A half-step king is an ant in front of a king. Don't you know that? Yan Fei stood in front of Yan Jinghua and held his battle blade as he looked at Night Sorrow. Cool craftsman T-net Q head plus equals hair. Carrot enter Master's 8-dragon cauldron and watch the battle. Night Sorrow completely ignored Yan Fei. Thank you for your hard work, Master. Chiyue's eyes were filled with tears. Her heart was filled with gratitude. When she was young and lonely, Night Sorrow had appeared and made her feel warmth. He had led her on the path of cultivation. Today, Night Sorrow had appeared at the most critical moment. He had appeared without knowing the opponent's strength, and all of this was to save her. With a wave of his hand, he transferred Chiyue into the 8-dragon cauldron and asked the weapon spirit to heal her with the power of medicine. Night Sorrow turned to look at Yan Fei and Yan Jinghua. Damn it! What do you think our Yanmen sect is? Yan Fei pointed his battle blade at Night Sorrow and roared. Although the Yanmen sect has a bad reputation, it has nothing to do with me. However, you shouldn't have touched my disciple. Today, I will kill you to get rid of evil. Night Sorrow exhaled and said. The Yanmen sect was the same as the Tiannan dynasty. They were cruel to their affiliated worlds. Night Sorrow was very against it, but it had nothing to do with him. However, he could not tolerate Chiyue being in such a miserable state. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, the angry Yan Fei waved his battle blade and charged toward Night Sorrow. Then die. Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear executed the space-revolving dragon kill and stabbed toward Yan Fei's battle blade. Chapter 1920. Night Sorrow's spear directly smashed Yan Fei's battle blade backwards. Yan Fei's earth attribute willpower was completely suppressed. He could not block Night Sorrow's spatial whirling dragon kill. However, Night Sorrow's attack was not finished. He shook Yan Fei's battle blade to the side. The energy of their weapons cancelled each other out. However, Night Sorrow followed up with a spatial vibration wave. Bang! With a muffled sound, Yan Fei's protective energy shield was shattered by Night Sorrow's vibration wave. Then the energy wave sent his body flying. Soul extinguishing slash. After sending Yan Fei flying, Night Sorrow used soul extinguishing slash. The purple soul extinguishing slash crescent moon blade streaked across the space and slashed into Yan Fei's spirit sea. The soul extinguishing slash was effective. Night Sorrow's space splitter spear arrived and directly pierced Yan Fei's head. After killing Yan Fei, Night Sorrow waved his spear and used another spatial whirling dragon kill. He killed Yan Jinghua, who was only an 8-star saint. After taking their storage rings, Yi Shang left the courtyard. At this time, many members of the Yanmen sect had rushed over. Previously, when Yi Shang and Yan Fei had been chasing each other in the air, many of them had seen them and chased after them. Night Sorrow's innate bloodline energy protected his body. He cut through the space and began to fight with the members of Yanmen sect. Actually, it could not be called a fight. It was a massacre because the members of Yanmen sect who came over were all Saint Kings. Even King Yan Fei was killed by Night Sorrow, not to mention Saint Kings. When Night Sorrow fought with Xiao Zimo, he fought against 7 peak Saint Kings. Now, not to mention that Night Sorrow's strength had increased, these people were also much weaker than Xiao Zimo. After killing these people, Night Sorrow directly killed his way to Dongyan Mountain Branch. He looted all the resources and killed the core members. Then he left. Night Sorrow knew that if this dragged on, it would be dangerous. He had no problem taking down a hall of the Gate of Goose sect, but there was definitely a powerful king in the headquarters of the Gate of Goose sect. He should have received the news by now. In fact, it was just as Night Sorrow had guessed. When Yan Fei was killed, the school of Yinshan's main peak knew about it. Yan Fei had a soul crystal in the hall of worship at the headquarters. Since he was killed, the soul crystal was stolen. The main peak of Yanmen sect was 20,000 miles away from Mount Dongyan. It was impossible to rush there quickly. The teleportation array had also been destroyed by Night Sorrow. By the time the powerful king of Yanmen sect arrived, Night Sorrow had already disappeared without a trace. After leaving Yanmen Mountain, Night Sorrow was no longer in a hurry. He found a quiet place and entered the 8-Dragon Cauldron. July, how are you? Night Sorrow asked July. Thank you, Master. I'm fine now. I just need to go back and recuperate, Chiyue said. Then recuperate well. When you go back, get your Aunt Xueshi to cook something delicious for you. Night Sorrow smiled and nodded. He was glad that he had arrived in time. If he had been any slower, there would have been irreparable consequences. If that happened, it would have been useless even if he slaughtered the entire Gate of Goose sect. Master, you killed King? July was still very shocked. The 8-Dragon Cauldron didn't isolate her from the outside world, so she had heard and seen what Yan Fei had said and how Night Sorrow had slaughtered the Dongyan sect branch. That guy. He's just Trash King. I'll continue on my way. After Night Sorrow said that, he left the 8-Dragon Cauldron and continued flying. This time, Night Sorrow didn't plan on taking the teleportation array. Instead, he flew directly to 7 Night Mountain. The distance between Yanmen Mountain and 7 Night Mountain was quite far. No matter how fast Night Sorrow was, it still took him 6 days. During that time, he had to use the teleportation array in an inconspicuous city twice. After arriving at 7 Night Mountain, Night Sorrow took the teleportation array to Northstar's residence before returning to the Celestial Master Pavilion. Master, how is it? At that moment, Ning Yun's injuries had recovered a little. Night Sorrow nodded and brought July out. At that moment, July had almost recovered. With the power of the 8-Dragon Cauldron's medicine spirit, it wasn't a big problem for her to recover from some injuries. Junior sister, are you all right? Ning Yun looked at July nervously. I'm fine. Senior brother informed me in time and Master arrived in time. Master massacred the Gate of Goose sect's Dongyan sect branch, July said. Night Sorrow, did you really massacre an entire branch? Xueshi looked at Night Sorrow in surprise. I was too angry, so I killed some people. Night Sorrow nodded. This time, he was really angry. It was fine for cultivators to have conflicts and battles, but one couldn't be too despicable. He couldn't accept Yan Zhenghua's actions. Aunt Xueshi, Master also killed a king. July said. She was very proud because her master didn't enter the king, but he killed a king in an instant. Night Sorrow, you killed a king? Xueshi's eyes were filled with shock because this didn't make sense. Killed a king? What's the situation? At that moment, Northstar also arrived at Night Sorrow's residence. It's just a trash king. He only has the will of earth. He doesn't have the speed or the strength of his attacks. Night Sorrow picked up the teapot on the table and poured himself a cup of tea. You really don't know how to speak. You didn't enter the king and killed a king. You're too heaven-defying. I guess the Gate of Goose sect hates you to death. Beixing's eyes were also filled with shock, because such a thing had never happened in the profound sky world in hundreds of thousands of years. The chaos is getting bigger. There are probably more people who want to kill me, but I'm already numb to it. There are many people who want me dead, so it doesn't matter if there are more or less. Night Sorrow laughed. All right. You've won. Is there anything you need me to do? Beixing asked. Help me find out more information. Let's see what's going on outside. Send some food and wine over. Ning Yun and Chiyue must be well rewarded. Night Sorrow nodded. You have to do your job well. Ning Yun, Chiyue, you have to thank Aunt Beixing. Beixing said with a smile. #CL Original U chapter are on Cool Craftsman our network L9-inch. When did you become twice as senior as us? Ning Yun asked. You bastard, I'm friends with your master. How dare you call me sister? Do you dare to shout? If you shout, I'll agree. Beixing crossed his arms and looked at Ning Yun. All right. Aunt Beixing, I was wrong. Ning Yun said helplessly. He really didn't dare to call her sister. Beixing laughed and left. She really liked the atmosphere in Night Sorrow's courtyard. Everyone was more casual, but there was also a hint of persistence in the casual atmosphere. From today onwards, the two of you are not allowed to run around. If you want to gain experience, go to Seven Night Mountain. Night Sorrow looked at Ning Yun and Chiyue and said. The two of you have shown up. Everyone knows about your relationship with your master. If you go out again, it'll be easy for problems to arise. Shueshi said. Master, I'm sorry. I've caused trouble for you. Chiyue said with some embarrassment. Chapter 1921. Master, why don't we just forget about it? It's not that serious. July said. She didn't want to make things difficult for Night Sorrow because of her. It's nothing. Even if we don't compete with them now, they won't let us off the hook. It's nothing. We cultivators can't be afraid. Whoever wants to fight with us will fight to the end. As we fight, we'll become stronger. As we fight, our level will rise, Yishan said. When he said this, Night Sorrow felt a little emotional. He had walked through battles. Back then he fought with the Golden Flame sect. Then he fought with the various dynasties of the Taiqing domain. Then he fought in the Profound Mysteries realm and the Nether realm. Now he was in the Profound Sky world. Cool Craftsman Network. Ning Yun and July nodded. They knew that this was their master. If his bottom line was crossed, he would dare to fight anyone. If his bottom line was crossed, he wouldn't back down. After letting Ning Yun and July recover for 2 days, Night Sorrow arranged for them to go to the Seven Nights Mountain. He was worried that the Big Dipper city wasn't safe. Now that a storm was brewing, Night Sorrow didn't know when it would happen. After Ning Yun and July left for 2 days, Beixing came. Her face was full of excitement. Night Sorrow, you've gone too far this time. The Yanmen sect is now looking for you. They're going to kill you at all costs. I slapped their faces. Let's not talk about whether they can slap me back or not. I have to throw some harsh words at them. Night Sorrow said with a smile. He knew that his identity couldn't be hidden. At that time, there were living people at the entrance of the Dongyan Mountain. They would know who did it with a casual description. Now he was a top figure in the Profound Sky world. You're famous now. Not only did you kill the king, but you also killed the king. The name of the strongest sage king, Night Sorrow, has become popular. You're the idol of all the sage kings. Beixing said with a smile. Night Sorrow smiled. You should help me find out more information. Others found me in the Big Dipper city. If I don't know, they'll close the door and beat me. That won't happen. Right now, everyone who is looking for you is rushing to the vicinity of the Yanmen sect. Other than that, no one from Biji City has come to Big Dipper City. You can still stay here peacefully. Beixing covered her mouth and said. She felt that it was very fun now. Beixing was not young, and her life was very ordinary in the past. However, after knowing Night Sorrow, she felt that everything was very exciting. Night Sorrow dared to do anything, and could do anything. That's good. At least I can feel more at ease. If others want to cause a ruckus, then so be it. Night Sorrow said. Within the Seven Rain Palace of the Seven Rain World's Seven Rain Valley, the Seven Rain Monarch sat in the main seat as he listened to the reports of his subordinates. A king killed a king before entering the realm. This has not happened in a million years. How valiant. The Seven Rain Monarch's fingers tapped on the armrest of his seat as he muttered softly. In addition, many kings under the monarch's command have entered the sky mystic world. In the beginning, everyone was full of confidence. Now, the slogan of capturing Night Sorrow is very loud. However, everyone is very cautious. After all, Night Sorrow can kill a king, said the woman. She was the youngest disciple of the Seven Rain Monarch, Aoluyan. She was a 3-star king, and her achievements had surpassed her senior brother and senior sister. That's right. Defeating and killing are two different things. A 2-star king might be able to defeat a 1-star king, but it is not easy to kill him. If he can kill him now, then a 2-star king will not be able to capture and kill him. It will not be easy for a 3-star king to kill him either, said the Seven Rain Monarch. Master, there are rumors going around that he has many treasures in his hands. The most eye-catching ones are the Soul Cultivation Elixir and the Myriad Lifespan Limitless Fruit. Therefore, he has become a target. The Myriad Lifespan Limitless Fruit is important, but it is useless to kings and monarchs. However, the Soul Cultivation Elixir is crucial. Master, I will inform 5th senior sister to go with me. No. I am asking you to go to scout for information, not to capture him or target him. It is true that opportunities need to be fought for, but at the end of the day, what is yours is yours. Besides, these treasures are too weak compared to him. He is the true treasure. I have some feelings for him. If you go again, it will still be to scout for information. If he needs help, then help him, said the Seven Rain Monarch. Master, the Soul Cultivation Elixir is too important to you. It can also decide the position of our 7 Moon realm in the 9 Firmament world, said Aoluyan. The people who want the Soul Cultivation Elixir are all obsessed. Let me ask you, if you were the one who obtained the Soul Cultivation Elixir, would you give others the chance to snatch it away? His true body is in the 9 Firmament Pagoda, so his doppelganger will not have any backup plans. Would he be afraid of these things? Those who are closely involved can't see clearly, said the Seven Rain Monarch as he shook his head. That's true. For him to be able to torment himself to this extent, he is definitely not brainless, said Aoluyan after some thought. Go. Back when he obtained the title of First Saint of the 100 Realms, I have already formed a good relationship with him. I really hope that when he is in a desperate situation, it is not because I have bad intentions. At that time, he will think of me and our 7 Rain realm will have another great talent, said the 7 Rain Monarch with a smile. Master, you mean to invite him to the 7 Rain realm? Asked Aoluyan after being stunned for a moment. It is not that I want to, it is that I have already done so. It is just that he is unwilling. He does not want to betray the Sky Mystic World even though the Sky Mystic World has wronged him, sighed the 7 Rain Monarch. After hearing what Master said, I feel that he is a very good person, said Aoluyan with a smile. Looking at his eyes, feeling his arrogance and style, I feel that he is a perfect person. He is from a small world. It is not easy for him to fight to this extent. Those old fellows still bully him. Just thinking about it makes my heart ache, said the 7 Rain Monarch. That's right. If he was from a large world or a great power, he would be spoiled like a treasure, said Aoluyan with a smile. All right, go. You know what to do. There is no need to be afraid of offending others. The 7 Rain Monarch nodded at Aoluyan. At this moment, at the Tianding Gate Standing Peak, Elder Xiang and Yen Huifeng were talking to Yu Yangyu about the recent situation. Lord King, is Night Sorrow in danger? Yu Yangyu was a little worried because there were too many strong opponents. No, Night Sorrow can kill a king. That means that a primary king cannot threaten him. Lord Monarch has said that cultivators above the intermediate king level are not allowed to enter our sky mystic world. Therefore he is safe, said Elder Xiang. It is because I am incompetent as his master. Yu Yangyu was a little upset. Everyone's path is different. This is his path. It is a path of struggle. The only regret is that he will not be returning to the Tianding Gate in the near future. Elder Xiang sighed. The main thing was that the Tianding Gate could not help Night Sorrow in any way. Tianding Gate's West Radiance Peak. Chu Danxian was studying the alchemy manual when Tang Yuan ran in excitedly, and told her about the news that was circulating outside. Chapter 1922. Tang Yuan also didn't say anything, because she used to act all high and mighty in front of Night Sorrow, but in fact, if Night Sorrow wanted to deal with her, he could do it with just a flick of his finger. After the members of the other peaks of the Tianding Gate received the news about Night Sorrow, although they were worried, they were more happy, excited and honored. It wasn't a king who killed a king, this was an honor. Many people didn't even dare to think about it, but Night Sorrow did it. Who was Night Sorrow? He was the guardian elder of the Heavenly Cauldron sect. His position was second only to the sect master and the sovereign king, the supreme elder Heavenly Cauldron sovereign king. Night Sorrow's life was very comfortable every day, concocting pills, refining tools, and then practicing combat skills. King Greedy Wolf sometimes came to drink with Night Sorrow, and the two became drinking buddies. Xueshi also went back to Empty City to get some wine. Fortunately, Aoi brewed a lot. Bei Xing spent most of his time in the courtyard, mainly talking to Night Sorrow and Xueshi. Bei Xing, what law are you comprehending now? Night Sorrow asked after he finished concocting pills. My strongest attribute is water, so according to my father, I'm currently studying and comprehending the will of water. Originally, I wanted to use the water attribute to try and comprehend the life attribute, but I didn't have the chance. Bei Xing said. In fact, many talented cultivators were like this. They were proud in their hearts and wanted to have higher achievements, but it was very difficult. This was almost the reason why King didn't have a high-level attribute. Even if there was, it was just a little high-level attribute, not a pure high-level attribute. By the way, Bei Xing, why didn't you participate in the ceremony of the 100 Worlds' first sage? Night Sorrow said. He knew that Bei Xing was a half-step king. If I participate, I can get some rankings, but if I can't get into the top 10, it's meaningless. If I can't rush to the front, I'll lose my spirit. It's meaningless. However, Xiao Zimo is very strong. If you weren't there, she would definitely be first. Bei Xing said with a smile. The phantom race is indeed terrifying. Whether it's one-on-one or in a group, they're amazing. If you meet them in the future, you have to hide. Night Sorrow said. Not all members of the phantom race are like that. It also depends on talent and bloodline. Only the phantom royal family can create 3 energy clones. Xiao Zimo's situation is a little special. She is one of the more talented members of the phantom race. She is also one of the most talented members of the phantom race, Bei Xing said. That's good. If everyone from the phantom clan was as crazy as Xiao Zimo, then we would be invincible, Yishang said. That's impossible. There is a balance between heaven and earth. If the phantom race were all like Xiao Zimo, then this world would belong to the phantom race. No race would be able to fight against them, Bei Xing said with a smile. That's true. You're right. If that's the case, there won't be any balance. Night Sorrow nodded. The phantom race is rare because of their talent. Bei Xing nodded. After Night Sorrow chatted with Bei Xing for a while, he continued to cultivate his battle skills. This was the most effective thing he could do with his clones. After 2 days of peace, Big Dipper King came to Night Sorrow's mansion. Lord King, you're here. Night Sorrow put away his reincarnation spear and greeted him. The outside world is unstable. You're here as stable as Mount Tai. Not bad. Remember, just be yourself. Big Dipper King said with a smile. Night Sorrow smiled and nodded. He took the tea that Xueshi brewed and poured a cup for Big Dipper King. Read 6 original chapters on Cool Craftsman Unspecified Currency S Network. Big Dipper City hasn't been peaceful for the past few days. It was a sovereign from the Demon Moon Realm. He announced that he saw you in Big Dipper City before the incident at Eastern Wild Goose Gate Mountain, said the North Star Sovereign. It seems that the Demon Moon world has also declared war on me. Although it's a one-on-one battle, I'll remember this. Night Sorrow said with a sigh. Now that you don't have the strength, you need to be stable. Just remember these things. Once you have the strength, you can deal with them one by one. Big Dipper King said with a smile. He was afraid that Night Sorrow wouldn't be stable. After Big Dipper King left, Night Sorrow felt a little guilty. He didn't treat Big Dipper King with the soul-nurturing tea. Black Heaven Monarch had obtained the soul-nurturing liquid, so it wasn't a big problem to expose the soul-nurturing tea to him. However, other people couldn't. Night Sorrow could give Big Dipper King the soul-nurturing tea, but not now. When Ao Luyin arrived at Big Dipper City, she was quite meticulous. After investigating Big Dipper City, she learned some things about Yi Shang's past. She knew that he had once refined Saint King pills, and was a member of the Alchemist Union. Following this clue, Ao Luyin found traces of Night Sorrow in the Heaven Do shop. She also noticed the Celestial Master Pavilion. After the Heaven Do shop stopped accepting Saint King pills and Saint King weapons, the Celestial Master Pavilion appeared out of nowhere. Moreover, no one knew who the alchemist and refiner of the Celestial Master Pavilion were. This was very suspicious. After thinking for a while, Ao Luyin went to the Celestial Master Pavilion and said that she wanted to order a special Saint King pill and hoped to meet the alchemist. However, she was rejected by Old Man Qin, who said that the alchemist wouldn't meet any guests. Ao Luyin thought for a while and smiled. Then tell him that I, Ao Luyin, am the disciple of the Seven Rain Monarch of the Seven Rain World. I want to meet him. I will wait for his reply tomorrow. Looking at Ao Luyin's figure, Old Man Qin pondered. However, at this time, Beixing came to get today's order. Old Man Qin told Beixing about Ao Luyin's appearance. Ao Luyin? I know this person. She used 3,000 years to cultivate to the King realm. She is a genius of the Seven Rain World. It's a little strange that she reported her name. After muttering to himself, Beixing nodded to Old Man Qin and returned to his mansion. Then, he teleported to the courtyard behind the Celestial Master Pavilion. Night Sorrow, the Celestial Master Pavilion seems to have been exposed. However, I don't understand the other party's intention. Beixing told Night Sorrow about Ao Luyin's arrival and the message Ao Luyin left behind. Subordinate of the Seven Rain Monarch? Then I understand. You arrange for Old Man Qin to find a tea house near your courtyard and inform her. Night Sorrow decided to meet Ao Luyin. It's good to meet her. Since she can find the Celestial Master Pavilion, it means that she has some clues. If she has any evil intentions, she can directly make a move. Xueshi also agreed with Night Sorrow. Besides, Xueshi also knew that Night Sorrow and the Seven Rain Monarch had met before. Under Old Man Qin's arrangement, Ao Luyin waited in a tea house some distance away from Beixing's courtyard. Night Sorrow also came as promised. He wanted to see what Ao Luyin's intentions were. He wanted to see what the Seven Rain Monarch's intentions were. Seeing Night Sorrow, the Seven Rain Monarch pointed at the seat opposite him. Greetings. Night Sorrow cupped his hands and sat down. I am Ao Luyin of the Seven Rain World. People call me King Luyin. You can call me Luyin. I have no other purpose in coming here. I just want to tell you that the hiding place is not safe. Ao Luyin said while sizing up Night Sorrow. Chapter 1923. Yes. When you need help, I will lend you a hand, Ao Luyin said. Good. As expected of a monarch. Night Sorrow admires your courage and magnanimity. Night Sorrow cupped his hands towards the void. Why do you say that? Ao Luyin didn't understand why Night Sorrow would suddenly ask such a question. If you came for the soul cultivation liquid, I might be disappointed. However, the Seven Rain Monarch didn't mention this matter. I, Night Sorrow, have no choice but to respect him, Night Sorrow said. Haha. Honored Master was able to cultivate to the monarch realm. Whether it is courage or temperament, it naturally surpasses ordinary people. Now what do you need me to do? Ao Luyin asked. He now had some understanding of the Seven Rain Monarch's evaluation of Night Sorrow. When ordinary people heard the word monarch, even if they didn't feel fear, they would feel fear and humility. However, Night Sorrow didn't. He still spoke leisurely. It's nothing. Help me thank Sir Monarch. I, Night Sorrow, will remember Sir Monarch's favor and kindness. Night Sorrow cupped his hands towards Ao Luyin and stood up. I will report back to Honored Master. However, don't appear in the Celestial Master Pavilion again. Also, don't accept orders for Saint King pills and Saint King weapons. Those who are interested will find out. Ao Luyin reminded Night Sorrow's back. Night Sorrow paused for a moment. He then turned around and cupped his hands towards Ao Luyan, then left the tea house. After circling around and making sure that no one was following him, Night Sorrow entered Beixing's courtyard. Then, he returned to the courtyard behind the Celestial Master Pavilion. What's the situation? Beixing asked. Looking at Beixing and Xueshi, Night Sorrow told them about Ao Luyan's warning. Yes, you participated in the Alchemist Conference. You are a Saint King alchemist. If we follow this clue, we might be able to find some clues, Beixing said. Then we'll have to move. Xueshi's expression was not very good. She was worried about Night Sorrow's safety. There's no need for that. The courtyard is well hidden by an illusion array, and it can even block detection. In the future, the Celestial Master Pavilion will not accept any orders for Saint King pills or Saint King weapons. Just let Old Man Qin announce that the alchemist and artifact refiner have left the Celestial Master Pavilion and Big Dipper City, Night Sorrow said. Northstar nodded. She knew that Night Sorrow's arrangement was appropriate. After all, no one had any concrete information. After Ao Luyan spoke with Night Sorrow, he returned to the Seven Rain world and reported to the Seven Rain monarchs about his encounter with Night Sorrow. Haha. If we really talk about the soul cultivation liquid, then I will be black in his heart, no different from the Tsangyan monarch and the Demon Moon monarch. Continue to go to the Big Dipper City. If you really encounter a huge crisis, crush your master's messaging crystal. The Seven Rains monarch said to Ao Luyan. Ao Luyan bowed and left the Seven Rain Palace, returning to the Big Dipper City once again. However, he stayed closer to the Celestial Master Pavilion, so it was easier for him to observe the situation. After Ao Luyan left, the Seven Rain monarch narrowed her eyes and pondered. Then, her eyes lit up because she had analyzed a problem. Night Sorrow did not mention that he had not obtained the soul cultivation liquid. If he had not obtained it, then Night Sorrow would have denied it. What did that mean? Then the Seven Rain monarch shook her head and smiled. She could not take Night Sorrow's things, and she could not snatch Night Sorrow's things. Otherwise, Night Sorrow would be furious. The Seven Rain monarch wanted the soul cultivation liquid. If it was in the hands of someone else, she might use force. However, Night Sorrow would not do that. She was optimistic about Night Sorrow's future, and did not want to hurt the friendship she had built with Night Sorrow, even if that friendship was very thin. In fact, in Night Sorrow's heart, the Seven Rain monarch's friendship with him was not thin. When they were in the Nine Heavens Pagoda, there was no such thing as the soul cultivation liquid. The Seven Rain monarch had also invited him to the Seven Rain world. This time, when she came to help him, she did not mention anything about the soul cultivation liquid. This left a deep impression in Night Sorrow's heart. Night Sorrow's days were very peaceful. Half a month later, someone investigated the Celestial Master Pavilion. However, Old Qin's reply disappointed the person who found the Celestial Master Pavilion. It had been half a month since the Celestial Master Pavilion had received any orders. In other words, even if Night Sorrow had stayed here before, he had already left. After half a month, this information was useless again. Night Sorrow now believed that the most dangerous place was the safest. He stayed in the courtyard behind the Celestial Master Pavilion and quietly concocted pills. As for smithing, Night Sorrow had not done it recently. Now that he could no longer improve his smithing skills, there was no need to waste materials. As for pills, they were all universal. Once they were concocted, they would become a resource. Ao Luyan knew that Night Sorrow was still in Big Dipper City. However, he had hidden himself very deeply. She also knew that with the support of the Big Dipper King, it would be very difficult for anyone to find Night Sorrow in Big Dipper City. Find out too much? Whoever dared to do so would be killed. Look at CT Positive our version J chapter on Cool our Craftsman Net FQ, provoking the prestige of a region's Overlord King. Even if they were killed, the Overlord behind them could only watch. After all, the Overlord of the Xian Celestial Realm was still guarded by the Overlord of Xian Tian. After being in a daze for a while, Night Sorrow thought of making a move. He felt that he should make a move. The gate of Yenshan's sect was very arrogant. If they wanted to capture him, then he should go and teach them a lesson. He would divert their attention and then return to Big Dipper City. That would be much safer. With this idea in mind, Night Sorrow told Xuexi and Beixing, but this will be dangerous, Beixing said. Don't worry. They are currently focused on capturing me. They won't expect me to kill my way to their door. They shouldn't be on guard. Night Sorrow told them his guess. After listening to Night Sorrow's estimation, Beixing and Xuexi didn't object. After all, Night Sorrow had already made his decision. Xuexi stayed there and didn't move. Beixing took Night Sorrow's 8-dragon cauldron and left Big Dipper City. They arrived at a relatively remote town. As she shook the 8-dragon cauldron, Night Sorrow arrived in the real world. I'm still waiting for you here. Be careful. Safety is always the most important thing. As long as you're here, you can take revenge anytime, Beixing reminded Night Sorrow. Okay. You be careful too. I'm leaving. Night Sorrow tightened the gun holster behind him. He put on the mask and went to the teleportation circle in this small town. Then he teleported to the city of the Gate of Yenshan Sect. The headquarters of the Gate of Yenshan Sect was in the Gate of Yenshan Mountain. A few of the sects that taught their disciples were also in the Gate of Yenshan Mountain. However, they still had many cities under their control. A large force had to manage their businesses. Only then would they have enough resources to support their logistics. Now Night Sorrow planned to attack the Gate of Yenshan Sect's businesses and rob them of their resources. This way, while accumulating resources for himself, would also tell the Gate of Yenshan Sect and the world that if anyone dared to target him, Night Sorrow, he would definitely fight back. Night Sorrow teleported to a city called Qingsha City. This was his first target. With the map of the Xian Celestial Realm in his hand, before Night Sorrow left, he had already locked onto a few cities to attack. Qingsha City was his first stop. Chapter 1924. Night Sorrow had the help of the 9 regions' origins, so his soul powers probing was very strong. Before the battle, he had scouted all the places that could be discovered, so his safety was very high. Night Sorrow also had his own principles when it came to killing targets. That was, he would attack the core members of the City Lord's manor. He would ignore the ordinary members, which meant that he would not kill too many people. After successfully occupying a city, Night Sorrow swept through all the resources in the City Lord's manor. Then he set the City Lord's manor on fire and moved on to the next city. Night Sorrow's battle speed was very fast. Without King's opponent, killing peak holy kings and half-step kings was just a matter of moments. The Gate of Yenmen was a first-rate force in the celestial realm. The resources in the City Lord's manor were very rich. After all, the daily expenses of supporting a city were not small. After one city was done, Night Sorrow began to teleport. Before the battle, Night Sorrow took all the teleportation crystals in the teleportation formation. When he left, Night Sorrow casually installed one, which meant that he would teleport to wherever he went. Then in the new city, he teleported according to the target city. Before leaving the battle city, Night Sorrow also set up a spirit explosion formation in the teleportation formation. It was to destroy the teleportation formation and prevent others from spreading the news. This time, Night Sorrow was more ruthless. He directly destroyed 6 cities. Originally, Night Sorrow planned to continue, but he met King in the 6th city, Green Summit City. It was a 2-star king. This 2-star king was the son of the Gate of Yemen's sect master, Yan Qingfeng. Green Summit City was Yan Qingfeng's territory. When Night Sorrow attacked, he was cultivating in a courtyard in the city. So after Night Sorrow launched the attack, Yan Qingfeng received the message and rushed to the City Lord's manor. Looking at Night Sorrow, who had finished setting fire to the city, Yan Qingfeng said coldly, "You are quite bold. Perhaps this is my opportunity." "Your opportunity? What kind of opportunity did you have?" Night Sorrow said to Yan Qingfeng with the Space Splitter Spear in his right hand. He was not afraid of a 2-star holy king. He also wanted to see the difference between him and a 2-star king. Limitless longevity fruit, soul cultivation liquid. Aren't these opportunities? I think you have a lot of resources. After Yan Qingfeng finished speaking, his body flashed and charged towards Night Sorrow. Will of Wind and Fire. Night Sorrow discovered Yan Qingfeng's Will of Wind and Fire. Using the Will of Space to support his bloodline, Yishang's body slashed and drew an arc in the air. Then he thrust his spear towards Yan Qingfeng's chest. At the same time, he used the spatial twisting dragon kill. Seeing Yishang close in on him, Yan Qingfeng waved his blade and slashed towards Yishang's space splitter spear. His willpower was good at tough battles. With the fusion of his willpower of wind and fire, the wind helped the fire, increasing his attacking power. With a loud explosion, the energy of Night Sorrow's space splitter spear and Yan Qingfeng's battle blade clashed. The energy of Night Sorrow's space splitter spear was cancelled out, but Yan Qingfeng's battle blade still had energy left. The remaining energy of Yan Qingfeng's battle blade followed the space splitter spear and attacked Night Sorrow's arm. The energy of the myriad Tao Bible burst out from Yishang's body. He used a shockwave to disperse the energy. The two separated. Night Sorrow used Space Swirling Dragon Slash to appear in front of Yan Qingfeng. He used his bloodline talent to release a vibration wave. As the vibration wave hit, a muffled sound was heard. Yan Qingfeng was pushed back by Night Sorrow. He had used up all his energy and had not used up any new energy. After pushing Yan Qingfeng back, Night Sorrow continued to charge forward. He used Time Will to support the myriad Tao Tome and released another vibration wave. Damn it! Yan Qingfeng cursed. Yishang's attacks were too fast, one wave after another, not giving him any time to catch his breath. Night Sorrow's will of time and space supported his bloodline talent and myriad Tao Tome. He used 3 different techniques to suppress Yan Qingfeng. Yan Qingfeng was in a passive position. He only had one type of energy. Whether it was attacking or defending, there was a blank space. And this blank space was where Night Sorrow attacked. This made him very uncomfortable. His arms were numb from the vibrations. Night Sorrow felt it was about time. He couldn't afford to waste any more time. After using Space Twisting Dragon Kill, he used Soul Destruction Slash to attack Yan Qingfeng's soul. Night Sorrow's Soul Destruction Slash was blocked this time. A light blue wave appeared on Yan Qingfeng's head, blocking the path of the Crescent Moon Blade. With the Crescent Moon Blade blocked, Night Sorrow's Space Splitter Spear attack arrived. Once again, Yan Qingfeng was pushed far away. What surprised Yishang was that Yan Qingfeng had borrowed the force of Yishang's attack to turn around and run. He had stopped fighting. Seeing Yan Qingfeng's fleeing figure, Night Sorrow didn't give chase. He believed that he could defeat Yan Qingfeng. He had already defeated him, but it would be difficult to kill him. Yan Qingfeng could block all of his attacks. He wouldn't be able to fight for a while. Night Sorrow didn't chase after Yan Qingfeng. Instead, he flew to the teleportation array. After setting up the Spirit Explosion Array, he teleported away. In Green Summit City, Yan Qingfeng let out a sigh of relief after discovering that Night Sorrow had left. He was a little scared. There were some things that Night Sorrow didn't know about, but he knew that the energy provided by his soul defense sacred item could only block Night Sorrow's soul attack twice. He was worried that if he continued to fight, he wouldn't be able to withstand it. Because his tracks had been exposed, Night Sorrow didn't continue to fight. After meeting up with Bei Xing, they returned to Big Dipper City and his mansion. How did it go? Xueshi, who was waiting in the mansion, asked. I destroyed 6 cities. In the 6th city, I encountered a 2-star king. After fighting for a while, he ran away. I didn't have any effective means to kill him, so I didn't chase after him. Then I teleported back, Night Sorrow said. 2-star king? What's his name? Bei Xing asked. There were only so many kings in the Xian celestial realm. Bei Xing knew which one was which. I don't know, but he has a soul defense. It's a light blue halo that can block my soul power attacks, Night Sorrow said. The only H_original version P, the others are all pirated by UE. Sky Goose Encirclement. That's a soul defense tool unique to the Gate of Wild Goose sect. However, the Sky Goose Encirclement has a limit. In other words, the amount of energy it contains is limited. It can't be used continuously. This is also why he was in such a hurry to escape. He was afraid that you would continue to attack him with your soul. North Star explained to Night Sorrow why his soul attack was blocked. So that's how it is. I was really worried that he could keep defending his soul. Night Sorrow smiled. He understood that Yan Qingfeng was really afraid. Otherwise he wouldn't have run. Half-Step King defeated 2-star king and chased 2-star king away. Night Sorrow, you're good enough. North Star gave Night Sorrow a thumbs up. Chapter 1925. If Yen Qingfeng had told us about the battle, it might have changed the situation. You defeated a 2-star king. Do you think the other 1-star and 2-star kings would still dare to look for you? 3-star kings wouldn't have the confidence either. There aren't many 3-star kings under the sovereign. Beixing shook her head. She felt that Night Sorrow's battle would affect the mentality of those who were looking for Night Sorrow. That's right. Let's see if Yen Qingfeng has the face to tell others. If he does, then everyone who is looking for Night Sorrow will have to think about their own safety. Xuexi also felt that Beixing's words made sense. Beixing, help me pay more attention to the situation outside. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Beixing nodded. Don't worry about this. My father doesn't really care about the affairs of Big Dipper City. I'm in charge of some things. The intelligence system is also under my control. If there's any movement, I'll be the first to know. At this time, the Xian celestial realm was really in chaos. 6 of Yanmensec's cities had been destroyed. This kind of thing couldn't be hidden anymore. Yanmensec's reputation was once again shattered. However, the news of Yen Qingfeng and Night Sorrow's battle and his defeat didn't spread. Yen Qingfeng only reported this to the sect. After hearing Yen Qingfeng's report, everyone in the Yanmensec's main hall looked very serious. Sect leader, this matter is not easy to deal with. A man in a black robe said. He was Yanmensec's Grand Elder, Golden Flame King Xiao Wu. The problem is that we can't find him. We have power, but we can't use it. He came to our territory to cause trouble. There are only 2 or 3 people in Yanmen's sect who can stop him. The old man sitting in the main seat said. The old man had a pair of eyes that emitted an ominous glint. His 2 white eyebrows were almost erect. He was the patriarch of the gate of Yanshan sect, the king of Wuhui, Yen Wuhui. Yen Wuhui was very angry. Dealing with Night Sorrow could not be done in a big way. In the conflict with Night Sorrow, the Yanmen sect was in the wrong. They could not even say the reason. Committing obscenity was a great taboo among cultivators. Sect master, the only way is for the 2 of us to move around in the lower cities. That way, he won't be able to act recklessly. We'll hold him off for now. There are many people who want to take care of him now. We'll hold him off until he's taken care of. Xiao Wu spoke his thoughts. That's the only thing we can do for now. The sect will enter a state of full preparation for war. There must be people near the teleportation array. If there's a battle, destroy the teleportation array immediately. That way, he won't be able to escape quickly. Yen Wuhui said. When news of the Yanmen sect spread, King's subordinates all went to the Yanmen sect to look for Night Sorrow. The name Night Sorrow represented an opportunity, because whoever obtained the soul cultivation liquid would benefit greatly. While Xuexi and Night Sorrow were drinking tea, they kept thinking. Xuexi, what are you thinking about? Night Sorrow asked Xuexi, who was deep in thought. I think there's a need to clarify to the outside world why you attacked the Tiannan dynasty and the Yanmen sect. Righteousness is very important, and so is your reputation. Xuexi said. I'll walk my own path. It doesn't matter what others say. Night Sorrow shook his head. He really hadn't thought about this. After Beixing arrived, Xuexi told him her thoughts. Night Sorrow didn't care, but she didn't want Night Sorrow to have a stain on his reputation. After hearing Xuexi's words, Beixing also felt that it was necessary. No matter when, righteousness was very important. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation % Craftsman VNet Plus. Okay, I'll take care of this. I'll send people to leak the reason why Night Sorrow fought the Tiannan dynasty and the Yanmen sect. Beixing nodded to Xuexi. Night Sorrow thought about it and didn't object. This would be a blow to the Yanmen sect and the Tiannan dynasty's reputation. For a sect or a force, reputation was very important. A sect with a bad reputation would have a hard time recruiting disciples. Perhaps it wouldn't affect the sect's strength temporarily, but it would have a great impact in the future. There would be a situation where the sect's disciples would be cut off. Beixing was very efficient. A few days later, the reason for Yi Shang's battle with the Tiannan dynasty and the Yanmen sect had spread throughout the world. It was very simple for the intelligence agents under her command to do this. They just had to secretly post notices in each city. The result of this incident was that the Tiannan dynasty and the Yanmen sect suffered losses. They also had a bad reputation. A bad reputation that everyone despised. This made the higher-ups of the two forces furious. They didn't understand how the news spread so quickly. Normally, Night Sorrow couldn't do this in the Xian celestial realm. Because they were in the wrong, the Tiannan dynasty and the Yanmen sect couldn't make up stories. They could only remain silent. Their silence represented the truth. This made many cultivators clap their hands and cheer. Didn't cultivators from big forces like to bully others? They had kicked an iron plate. Night Sorrow had become the idol of the independent cultivators. He wasn't the king, but he did something that even the king might not be able to do. Bei Xing excitedly told Night Sorrow about the situation and rumors outside. Not bad. They must be very upset now, Night Sorrow said with a smile. It's strange. With their character they didn't confuse the truth, Xueshi said. It's not strange. The king can be very despicable, but he must respect the truth. If they deny it, whoever made this decision will not be able to face their own hearts. It will be difficult for them to achieve anything in the future, so they can only keep quiet. Bei Xing explained why the Tiannan dynasty and the Yanmen sect didn't confuse the truth. After hearing Bei Xing's words, Xueshi nodded. She understood the reason. What's the situation with the other king's subordinates? Night Sorrow asked. He couldn't go out, but he still paid attention to the news outside. Big Dipper City is very stable. Almost all the subordinates of the Seven Rain Monarch have arrived at the Yanmen sect. Of course, the one who met you is still in Big Dipper City, Bei Xing said. The one she was talking about was Ao Luyan, the subordinate of the Seven Rain Monarch. This woman is very smart. The fact that she could find the Celestial Master Pavilion last time proved this point. This time, she also calculated some things. Fortunately, we are not a match for her. Otherwise it would be troublesome. Night Sorrow knew that Ao Luyan was a smart woman. She wouldn't be interrupted by some external factors. She was the kind of person who believed in her own judgment. Ao Luyan, who was drinking tea in an inn, narrowed her eyes and pondered. She believed in her intuition. Night Sorrow went to the Yanmen sect to cause trouble. He wouldn't be in the Yanmen sect. And Night Sorrow's most likely hiding place was Big Dipper City. Ao Luyan's impression of Night Sorrow also changed. Chapter 1926. After pondering for a while, Ao Luyan returned to the Seven Rain Monarch and reported the recent events to her. Well done. That B**TCH has to be dealt with. Condoning the disciples of the sect to violate the precepts, no matter how you kill him, it's not too much. The Seven Rain Monarch's eyes were shining. She was someone who abhorred evil and hated profligate sons like Yan Jinghua the most. Right now he's very stable. Ordinary people really can't deal with him. The junior king under the various sovereigns will have a hard time catching him. Besides, if he doesn't take the initiative to attack, it's hard for others to find him. I think that the forces under the Big Dipper King should have helped him a little. Ao Luyan explained his analysis. That's natural. With such a young talent, if there's no grudge, anyone would be willing to form a relationship with him. The Seven Rain Monarch said. Then everything makes sense. Ao Luyan said. He has a virtuous body and has luck on him. In addition, in the Nine Heavens Pagoda, his title was strengthened. In the outside world, he also has a certain amount of luck. When he grows up, he will be amazing. The Seven Rain Monarch understood why Night Sorrow could get the support of the Big Dipper King. Seems like this Big Dipper King is a smart person. After hearing the Seven Rain Monarch's words, Ao Luyan understood why the Big Dipper King supported Night Sorrow. That's natural. If another sovereign appears in the celestial realm, it will definitely be the Big Dipper King. He has principles and a gentleman. The Black Heavens sovereign won't stop him from becoming a sovereign. The Seven Rain Monarch said. In the outside world, after a sovereign appeared, a second sovereign would rarely appear because it would affect the ruling position. Under normal circumstances, a world would only have one sovereign. In the case of a world having two or more sovereigns, The first sovereign must have an extraordinary breadth of mind or not care about the struggle for power. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. The Sky Dome realm having two sovereigns was an example. It was because the no-beginning sovereign was magnanimous and didn't care about the struggle for power that he allowed the Gray Cloud sovereign to appear. There were two kings in the continent of the Nine Clouds because Monarch Shen Shao and Monarch Zi Shao were brothers. Aoluyan nodded. He understood that the Big Dipper King was the second in command of the Xian Celestial Realm. So no one would dare to make a big move against Night Sorrow. Go. Remember, Night Sorrow is someone worth befriending. He is also someone worth the Seven Rain World's attention. The Seven Rain Monarch instructed once more. Aoluyan bowed and left the Seven Rain main hall. He continued to observe the situation in the Xian Celestial Realm. Night Sorrow lived an ordinary life every day. Sometimes he would go out for a walk with Northstar. Right now, Big Dipper City was very quiet, and there weren't any spies. When they went out for a walk again, Night Sorrow thought for a moment and turned to look at Northstar. Let's go and meet King Drifting Cloud. Well, they don't have any ill intentions, so they have good intentions. It's good to meet them. Northstar nodded. As the young miss of Big Dipper City, Northstar had a good outlook on the big picture. She also had her own analysis of some matters. Night Sorrow and Northstar had just arrived at the inn where Aoluyan was staying when Aoluyan appeared. He brought them to the guest room of the inn where he was staying and brewed a pot of tea. You can still run out. Aoluyan sat down and asked after pouring tea for Night Sorrow and Northstar. King Drifting Cloud knows that Big Dipper City is very quiet. There aren't any spies from other forces, Night Sorrow said with a smile. That's true. However, it's better to be cautious when you're growing up. It won't be too late to take revenge after you've grown up, Aoluyan said. King Drifting Cloud is right. If I really can't do it, I'll run. Night Sorrow nodded. He knew that Aoluyan was giving him a kind reminder. It's good that you know. The minor world you came from and the Seven Rain world are good places for you to go. There are some things that you can say directly. Because of your excellence, my master is willing to protect you without asking for any price. Aoluyan said after pondering for a moment. Thank you, Monarch Seven Rain. I, Night Sorrow, will remember your kindness. Night Sorrow stood up and cupped his fists towards Aoluyan. Before I came here, my master told me to do so. I had to do it. Now I admire your way of doing things. As long as it doesn't harm the interests of the Seven Rain world, I will help you even if my master didn't tell me to. In fact, there are many things that don't require a reason, Aoluyan said with a smile. Yes, there are many things that don't require a reason. King Drifting Cloud, I will also remember your kindness today, Night Sorrow said with a smile. No need to be so polite. I didn't help you much. With the help of Big Dipper King and Miss Northstar, you won't have any problems. Aoluyan shook his head. Indeed, he hadn't helped Night Sorrow much. I don't need any help. You didn't hit me when I was in a difficult situation. That is a kind of kindness, Night Sorrow said after taking a sip of tea. You didn't hit me when I was down is a kind of kindness. Well said. Aside from you, I don't think anyone else would have such thoughts. To have such thoughts is also a kind of realm. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, Aoluyan was stunned for a moment. Then he clapped his hands. Night Sorrow's words had revealed a kind of realm. It was a realm that no one in the profound celestial realm had reached. King Drifting Cloud, you flatter me. I was just expressing my feelings, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Aoluyan shook her head. She had an indescribable feeling in her heart. She couldn't express the feeling Night Sorrow gave her. After chatting with Aoluyan for a while, Night Sorrow and Northstar stood up and bid farewell. After Night Sorrow left, Aoluyan sank into deep thought. Now she truly understood why the Seven Rain Sovereign valued Night Sorrow so much. Aura. Aoluyan felt Night Sorrow's aura and aura. Even when facing her king realm, Night Sorrow didn't show any pressure. Instead, he became the center of attention. All the conversations were led by Night Sorrow. In terms of demeanor, Night Sorrow displayed the demeanor of a great general. Ao Luyan felt that even some of the direct descendants of great powers couldn't compare to Night Sorrow's demeanor. Next was his state of mind. Night Sorrow was very open-minded. Although he was being chased by the subordinates of many sovereigns, he didn't show any signs of being flustered. On the contrary, he was calm. Night Sorrow's words, "You didn't hit me when I was down as a kind of kindness," had greatly touched Ao Luyan. North Star, who left with Night Sorrow, didn't say anything. He even looked a little absent-minded. "North Star, what's wrong?" Night Sorrow stopped and turned to look at North Star. "The Seven Rain Realm is trying to rope you in. Will you go?" North Star asked after taking a deep breath. Chapter 1927. It's not that I'm overthinking, but the Seven Rain Sovereign values you very much. I can say that if you go to the Seven Rain world, you will have a better future, Bei Xing said. Don't tell me I won't have a future if I don't go to the Seven Rain world? Besides, do you think I can give up Seven Night City? Night Sorrow said with a smile. That's true, I'm overthinking. Bei Xing smiled embarrassedly. She was too concerned about whether Night Sorrow would be taken away by the Seven Rain world, so she was a little worried. Night Sorrow and Bei Xing returned to the courtyard behind the Sage Pavilion. How was the meeting? Xuexi asked. She didn't care about the situation outside, but she was concerned about Night Sorrow's safety. Everything is fine. Oh right, we haven't gone to the Seven Night Mountain for a while. Let's go and see how the construction is going, Night Sorrow said. Bei Xing and Xuexi both agreed to Night Sorrow's suggestion. They also wanted to see how the Seven Night City was built now. After 2 teleportations, Night Sorrow arrived at the Seven Night Mountain. After exiting the teleportation array, Night Sorrow was a little stunned because the scene before his eyes was different from what he remembered. The Seven Night Mountain had undergone huge changes. Night Sorrow wrapped Bei Xing and Xuexi with his energy, and went to the nearest peak to have a bird's-eye view of the entire situation. The location of the Seven Night City was bustling with activity. The scale of a city had already appeared. There was a towering pavilion below the cliff with the words Seven Night City Lord's Mansion written on it. Night Sorrow brought Bei Xing and Xuexi to the entrance of the City Lord's Mansion. Night Sorrow entered the City Lord's Mansion after feeling the sturdy and solemn bluestone ground. At the table in the City Lord's Mansion's hall, Taishu Yan and Jun Xuanji, who were drawing, were discussing something. However, the two of them raised their heads when they felt someone enter. Seeing Night Sorrow, Taishu Yan and Jun Xuanji were surprised. They then cupped their hands and greeted him. You don't have to be so polite. You've done a good job, Night Sorrow said. That's natural. The 9 regions world is fully constructed. Night Moon Dynasty, Tianji Tower and Assassination Hall's people are all here. Long Xianxing and Saint Proclamation are running. They often go out to buy materials. For example, the City Lord's Mansion's built is made of rare materials. The City Lord's Mansion. It is also the main hall, the teleportation array. They're all busy. They're supervising different things. Your wife and Lord Wu Kei are cultivating. Their doppelganger seems to be at the Seven Nights Lake. Let's go and take a look, Taishu Yan said. At the edge of the Seven Nights Mountain area, there was a big lake. It originally had no name. Night Sorrow named it when he was surveying the terrain. When Yishang arrived, he found that some workers were also busy. Night Sorrow. Seeing Night Sorrow, Sikong Chiyu shouted happily. Looking at S. Edition E chapter up E Cool H Craftsman Jr. Net. Night Sorrow smiled and greeted him. He then nodded to Wu Lingfei. What are you building here? Night Sorrow asked after greeting them. Living quarters. Our living quarters. Auntie Fei said that you like to sail boats on the big lake. We'll build a courtyard here. You'll have a place to live in the future, Yang Lei said. It's important to build the city now. Don't mobilize the workers in the city. Our courtyard can be built later. Night Sorrow thought for a moment, and felt that he shouldn't get any special privileges. I know what you're thinking. These are my family's gardeners and craftsmen. They're not the workers in the construction team, Sikong Chiyu said. Oh. Then there's no problem. The design here is good. After the city is built, it'll be a quiet place, Night Sorrow said as he looked around. This place isn't suitable for building other facilities. When we were designing the blueprint, this place was marked out. It'll be your resting place, Jun Xuanji said. Is this okay? Night Sorrow looked around again. You're the city lord. This is your territory. Doesn't the city lord have a place to rest? Tai Shuyan said with a smile. Then you make the arrangements. I won't care. Here are some spirit stones. Take them and give them to Long Xianxing and Saint Xian in exchange for resources. The construction of the city can be slow, but the foundation must be good. Otherwise, it'll be troublesome in the future. Night Sorrow reminded Tai Shuyan and Jun Xuanji. Commander, don't worry. We went to Xiantian Imperial City once and handled the construction of 7 Night City according to the scale of Xiantian Imperial City. Although we can't reach that level now, the foundation is definitely enough, Jun Xuanji said. The scale is too big. Night Sorrow was a little stunned after hearing Jun Xuanji's words. Xiantian Imperial City was the #1 city in the profound heaven world. Night Sorrow had never thought of building 7 Night City according to the scale of Xiantian Imperial City. Take it slow. We can build the key areas first. The construction of the outer areas can wait. If we build it now, we won't be able to use it, Tai Shuyan said with a smile. Yes, we can take it slow. Wu Lingfei nodded. After that, everyone made tea and chatted casually in the pavilion that was already built. The girls asked about Night Sorrow's recent situation. After knowing that Night Sorrow was safe, the girls were relieved. If it's not possible, Night Sorrow, you can go back to the 9-domain world. Can they chase you there? Wait until you enter King Realm, then come back, Sikong Chiyu said. She was worried about Night Sorrow's safety. Okay, I'll be careful. Your clones stay here. The main body will work hard to cultivate. Everything will be fine, Night Sorrow said to the girls. Oh right, Night Sorrow, there's something else I want to tell you. The 9 continents of our 9-domain world are converging together. The density of heaven and earth spirit chi has also increased, Wu Lingfei said. This is the reaction of the 9-domain world after it was completed, right? Night Sorrow said with a smile. This was a good sign. Suddenly Night Sorrow's body shook. Night Sorrow's face also turned cold. What's wrong? Aoi asked. The 9-domain sources informed me that because of the evolution of the 9-domain world, it has attracted some trouble. Another world has appeared, and is approaching the 9-domain world, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow had just received the news from the 9-domain sources, and understood what was going on. Tribulation. Chapter 1928. How could this be? Aoi asked. Following this, Night Sorrow told the girls about the information he had obtained from the 9 domains' origins. There were some things that Night Sorrow did not know, and he only understood after the 9 domains' origins told him. When a cultivator's level greatly increased, they would have to be acknowledged by the heavenly Tao and undergo tribulation lightning. There were also tribulations such as inner demons and wind and fire tribulations. It was the same for the formation and advancement of a spatial world. The 9 domains world's laws were complete, and it had the nihility origin source as its core. It was developing towards a supreme world. The 9 domains world still had a long way to go to become a supreme world, but now that the 4 high-grade laws had perfectly fused, it had become a high-grade world. As such, it had to undergo tribulation. The tribulation that the 9 domains world was facing this time was an attack from an evil world. If it could not withstand it, the 9 domains world's origin chi would be stolen, and its level would drop. It would become a low-grade world again, and it would be difficult to say when it would recover. It might even be destroyed. If the 9 domains world was destroyed, it would be a disaster for the 9 domains world's life forms. It was true that cultivators could move to the heaven profound world and survive, but if the source root was gone, it would have a huge impact on the growth of their cultivation and the evolution of their levels in the future. What should we do? Wu Lingfei asked after hearing Night Sorrow's words. I have a clone that has fused with the Heaven Sealing Palace, which suppresses the world. It can protect the origin chi from being stolen for a short period of time. What we need to do is attack this evil world, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow brought the girls back to the 7 Night City's City Lord's residence, and asked Jun Xuanji to gather the 9 domains administrators to the commander's residence in the Grand Clarity City for a meeting. Night Sorrow, do you need people? I can go back and gather some, Bei Xing, who knew that Night Sorrow was in danger, asked. While Night Sorrow was thinking, the 9 realms' origins told Night Sorrow that it was impossible to rely on external forces. Foreign cultivators did not originate from the 9 realms, and could not receive the support of the 9 realms world. They were not qualified to participate in such a war, and would be killed by the evil world's laws. Thank you, North Star. This is a tribulation for the 9 realms world. It's also a tribulation for the 9 realms world. We have to face it ourselves. I can't go to Big Dipper City for now. Once I've dealt with the 9 realms world, I'll go to Big Dipper City, Night Sorrow said to North Star. Then I wish you good luck. See you in Big Dipper City. North Star looked at Night Sorrow and nodded. She knew that there were some things that she couldn't help with. After sending off North Star, Night Sorrow returned to Sky City with the girls around him. Night Sorrow, what kind of battle is this? When Zhu Juyin heard the news, he went to Night Sorrow's residence and asked. I've never experienced it before, but I can already feel the evil world. It's right below our 9 realms world, and will approach in 7 days. The evil world will attack from below, and try to break through the 9 realms world. My clone in the Heaven Sealing Great Hall can control the Heaven Sealing Great Hall to suppress it, but it can only suppress it for a short period of time. This period of time will be the time we fight. Night Sorrow said to Zhu Jiyun. Then what's the situation with the Nether Realm, Supreme River Space, and Profound Mysteries Realm? Zhu Jiyun asked again. +% most new 1 chapters. Section E, Cool Craftsman Network. There are some things that you don't know. Over the years, the 9 realms world has been evolving. A few worlds have merged and recombined. The original 9 realms world is the core area, while the Profound Mysteries Realm, Nether Realm, and Supreme River Space are the auxiliary groups. The 3 space worlds are the inner worlds of the 9 realms world. The space barrier is also the space barrier of the 9 realms world. Therefore this battle is all out. Night Sorrow explained to Zhu Jiyu. I see. Then it's going to be an all-out battle. I'll go to the Nether Realm to gather the troops. Zhu Jiyun said. Go. I've already told Elder Jun about this. Gather the troops from the Profound Mysteries Realm as well. This is a calamity for the 9 realms world and us. It's also an opportunity for us and the 9 realms world. After this calamity, the 9 realms world will become a high-level world. Our life forms will also improve. Night Sorrow said. After making the arrangements, Night Sorrow leaned back in his chair. Night Sorrow, don't worry. No matter what, we can overcome it. There's no problem that we can't solve. Yang Lei said as she massaged Night Sorrow's shoulders. Time is too short. If I had more time, my main body would enter the king's realm. Then, the combat power of these 2 clones would increase by leaps and bounds. Unfortunately, time waits for no one. Night Sorrow felt that this matter was always a little lacking. He couldn't face it calmly. A test. This is a test. Sikong Chiyu said. Perhaps. Night Sorrow softly muttered. After resting for a night, Night Sorrow brought his men to the commander's residence. At this moment, the upper echelons of the 9 realms world were all present. The seats on both sides were filled with people. Night Sorrow walked to the main seat, and sat down with a wave of his battle robe. After Night Sorrow sat down, the others all stood up and cupped their fists in greeting. Everyone, there's no need to be like this. Many of you are my seniors. Night Sorrow stood up and cupped his fists in return. The commander is the leader of the 9 realms world. It's only right that we receive greetings, Jun Xuanji said. After waving his hand for everyone to sit down, Night Sorrow explained what was going to happen next. We're not very clear about this. Commander, you can just give the order. Heavenly Underworld Saint said. Good. First, the non-combatants will continue with the construction of 7 Night City. The combatants will gather. This time, we'll gather the elites. Don't make unnecessary sacrifices, Night Sorrow said. How will this team be divided? Tai Shuyan asked. The Holy King will be the team leader. He will lead the saints and sovereigns. After the team is organized, they will be on standby in Taiching City. They will be ready to fight at any time. In addition, the supply of resources must be kept up. Healing medicine and resources that can instantly replenish cultivation must be prepared. Night Sorrow gave a series of orders. After listening to Night Sorrow's words, everyone stood up again to accept the orders. Then that's it. Seven Nights City still needs people to be stationed there. Saint Shang will be in charge of this matter. If there's any trouble, inform me immediately. Night Sorrow said to Shang Qiu, who had also returned for a meeting. After all the arrangements were made, Night Sorrow rushed to the old site of Clear Sky City. In the past, the old site of Clear Sky City was desolate and dilapidated. However, it was not now. At this time, the old site of Clear Sky City was full of rich energy. The Nine Realms Origin Shield was emitting a gentle light. Chapter 1929. Yes, outsiders are blocked by the Realm Transfer Array. Even if they come here, I can still fight. As for the people inside the Nine-Domain world, I can also suppress and kill them. It is indeed necessary to rebuild this place. Night Sorrow nodded and said. After hearing the Nine-Domain Origin Body's suggestion, Night Sorrow felt that if he could survive this tribulation, then he would have the ability to protect the Nine-Domain world. First of all, he could enter the King Realm at any time. Once he entered the King Realm, then he could fight and kill a primary king. Even if he did not enter the King Realm, he would not be afraid of a 1-star king or 2-star king. In the profound sky world, Night Sorrow could fight a 1-star or 2-star king. In the Nine-Domain world, his advantage would be even more obvious. Moreover, the king could not enter the Nine-Domain world at all. As for the people inside the Nine-Domain world, they would be suppressed by him, the Realm Lord. At this moment, the evil world was very close to the Nine-Domain world. It rose from the bottom of the Nine-Domain world and would connect with the Nine-Domain world in a few days. This evil world was not part of the 3,000 worlds. It was a form of the heavenly Tao's test. It would only appear at a certain time. After a certain time, only one of it and the Nine-Domain world could exist. If the Nine-Domain world could withstand it, then it would become a high-level world. If it could not, then the evil world would replace the Nine-Domain world. As for the situation of the evil world, Night Sorrow knew a little. It was actually a projection of the Nine-Domain world. Its strength was almost the same. It could even be said that there was a Realm Lord on the same level as Night Sorrow. After staying in Clear Sky City for a while, Night Sorrow returned to the city in the sky and continued to think of a battle plan. At this moment, Yi Wuyo and Yu Qing were also in the city in the sky. Night Moon's Emperor and Yi Tian were also there. Yi Qianhua was also there. At this moment, Yi Qianhua had already entered the Saint King realm. With the cultivation experience of several lifetimes, and the time he entered the space-time pagoda to cultivate, his cultivation level naturally increased very quickly. Night Sorrow. How long can the Nine Domains world last without knowing the battle situation? Yi Qianhua asked. Great Ancestor, I can't say the specific time. The minimum suppression time is half a year, which means that at least after the two worlds are connected, I can guarantee a stable time for half a year. This time may be longer. Night Sorrow told Yi Qianhua what he knew. Night Sorrow, you are the World Lord of the Nine Regions world. The founder of the new era of the Nine Regions world. You don't have to call me Great Ancestor, just call me Saint Monarch Qianhua. Yi Qianhua shook his head and rejected Night Sorrow. That's not appropriate. After all, you are Night Moon's ancestor. Night Sorrow shook his head. Yi Qianhua looked at Night Sorrow and said, calling you Saint King Qianhua is very appropriate. According to the seniority of this life, I would have to call you uncle. Alright then. I will be able to gain a foothold in the Sky Mystic world soon. After settling the matters of the Nine Regions world, we will fully develop in the Sky Mystic world. We will take back what the Tiannan Empire owes us. Night Sorrow looked at Yi Qianhua and Yi Tian and said. At this moment, Yi Tian was already a Saint King. After being imprisoned for 100 years, it was a test for his state of mind. After gaining freedom, his state of mind relaxed and he made substantial improvements. Night Sorrow, I am also very grateful to you. Without you, I would have spent my entire life in a ball cage. Yi Tian stood up and said to Night Sorrow. We are Night Moon's people. We have the same blood in our bodies. We have the courage to fight the heavens and the earth. If you humiliate Night Moon, we will fight to the end. Great ancestor, you don't have to think too much. Moreover, you are also the faith of Night Moon's people. Night Sorrow shook his head. He didn't want Yi Tian to bear any pressure. You are wrong. There was once an era that belonged to me. However, Night Moon's faith is you. It is you now and it will be you in the future. Immortal Saint King Night Sorrow will forever be the faith of Night Moon's people. Yi Tian shook his head and said, that was the truth. Yi Tian was the symbol of Night Moon Empire's era. The undefeated King Yi Linghuan was the flag of Night Moon's era. However, the current soul of the Yi clan and the Nine Regions world was Night Sorrow. It was a kind of faith. After resting for 2 days, Night Sorrow brought his wife and the people close to him to Taiching City. At this time, the square of Taiching City was filled with people. Moreover, they were divided into teams, and each team was led by a Saint King. This battle is a battle that we must win. Whether it is a quick battle or a steady progress depends on the specific situation. If my soul clone can control the Heaven Sealing Palace and suppress the evil world, then we can fight steadily. If the evil world is fierce and my soul clone and the Heaven Sealing Palace can't suppress it, then we have to fight quickly. There will be consumption and death, but we have to hold on. Night Sorrow said. It doesn't matter. We are all determined to fight to the death. Long Xianxing said. The leaders of the other teams also nodded. Living in this era, we are destined to be a generation that has to fight to the death. Perhaps it might be a little cruel for everyone, but for the future of the Nine Regions world, we have no other choice. I, Night Sorrow, am willing to fight. I am willing to fight to the end for the Nine Regions world. Night Sorrow looked at the group of people and spoke his mind. There is a kind of personality called perseverance. There is a kind of realm called willingness to sacrifice. There is also a kind of realm called willingness to sacrifice. The Nine Regions world is fortunate to have a commander like you. It is also the fortune of our generation. Lu Qin stood up and bowed to Night Sorrow. Following Lu Qin's bow, everyone in the square also bowed to greet him. If we're alive, we have to live a good life. We're lucky to live in this era and have the opportunity to fight for the future generations. We have the opportunity to bring glory to ourselves. Isn't that our fortune? We have to be the pioneers of the Nine Regions world. We have to become the sages of the Nine Regions world in the eyes of the future generations. This time, we might die in battle. Even if we die, we have to use our bones and blood to create an immortal monument. Night Sorrow took out the Sky Splitter spear with his right hand and pointed it at the sky. He spoke of his reason for fighting and his belief in battle. The square quieted down. Then there was a shocking roar. Night Sorrow's words completely ignited the battle blood in everyone's body. As Night Sorrow's left arm pressed down, the square quieted down. For this battle, I, Night Sorrow, can't promise anything. I can't guarantee that everyone will come back alive. What I can do is to stay alive. You will definitely see my figure in battle. I have the determination to fight to the death and the belief to win. Now let's go. Our target is Clear Sky City. Night Sorrow stepped onto the teleportation array after speaking. Then, Night Sorrow also activated the teleportation array he had set up on the seaside. An hour later, all the participants of the battle arrived at the square of Clear Sky City. Cool Voice Craftsman Net D. Chapter 1930. Then Princess Qingyuan told Night Sorrow about the Qingyuan army. The Green Phoenix army was split into 4 armies. The rear army was the Imperial Court army, the left army was the Black Armored army, the right army was the Flying Feather army, and the Vanguard army was the Thunder Lightning army. There were a total of 4 generals and only 1 commander, which was Princess Green Phoenix. I Kulo D Craftsman F net only in a positive aversion, ahi. All of them. Robber 6-inch Your Majesty plans to send you to the Thunder army. Princess Qingyuan explained the situation of the Qingyuan army and expressed her thoughts. Sure, no problem. Night Sorrow nodded. Alright, as long as you think there's no problem. In addition, you will also be the captain of Your Majesty's guards. Whether Your Majesty is in battle or not, You will follow by your majesty's side. Princess Qing Wan said the second arrangement. I'm afraid that's not a good idea. Knight Sorrow's strength is low. At most, he would die on the battlefield. However, the princess's safety is more important than anything else. Knight Sorrow can't bear the responsibility. Knight Sorrow cupped his hands and said, joining the army required one to fight and kill their opponents. However, it was different for the captain of the princess's bodyguards. It involved a lot more. Don't worry, let's talk about this later. First, follow your majesty to the Green Phoenix army and familiarize yourself with it. Then, we'll see what position you can take. Princess Green Phoenix changed the topic. Green Wan army was stationed at heaven-facing cliff outside Qing Emperor City. This was the southern gate of the Qing Emperor Imperial Court. Princess Green Wan brought Zhuo Tingyun and the guards, as well as Knight Sorrow, red clothes, and blue clothes through the transport formation set up within the manor, transporting to Green Wan army's encampment at heaven's facing horizon. When they reached their destination, Knight Sorrow saw 4 neat barracks. These were the 4 divisions of the Green Phoenix army. The situation of the army was different from what Knight Sorrow had imagined. There weren't that many soldiers. After probing with his soul power, Knight Sorrow discovered 4 armies, each with only 4,000 soldiers. As if he had seen through Knight Sorrow's thoughts, Zhuo Tingyun opened his mouth. The Green Phoenix army doesn't want trash, they only want elites. That's why there aren't many people, only 17,000. 10 people form a small team, and the leader is a small team leader. 100 people form a large team, and the leader is a large team leader. 1,000 people form a large team and the leader is a commander. What about the other 1,000? Knight Sorrow nodded at Zhuo Tingyun. It's the Green Phoenix Battalion that this commander commands. It's independent of the 4 armies. Zhuo Tingyun explained to Knight Sorrow once again. Qing Wan led a group of people into the command tent and sat down. After a while, a few people came to the tent to pay their respects. Has it been quiet recently? Have there been any movements from the Red Emperor's nation and the Dark Abyss? Princess Qing Wan asked. The Red Emperor's nation has been mobilized from time to time, but there have been no abnormal movements. However, the Dark Abyss's army has shown signs of invading. Even if the princess doesn't return, this subordinate still has to report. A middle-aged man bowed and reported. The middle-aged man was wearing a silver armor. His body was emitting a dense killing intent, and his face had a resolute expression. Seems like the war isn't far away. Thunder God General, this time your majesty has brought someone to your Thunder God General. Princess Qing Wan said to the man who reported the news, who was the Thunder God General. Reporting to the commander, the Thunder God General's organization is complete. We don't need any more people. This subordinate will also seriously recruit new people. The Thunder God General said. In the Green Phoenix army there is no nepotism. Your majesty also won't use any connections. He is Knight Sorrow. Whether or not he is suitable for the Thunder God General is enough. Princess Qing Wan said. Facing the Thunder God General, she was also somewhat helpless. The Thunder God General's temperament was like this. It could even be said that he was somewhat old-fashioned. Elder Zhuo, bring Knight Sorrow out for a walk. Tell me about the Thunder God General's situation. After explaining her position, Princess Qing Wan nodded to Zhuo Tingyun. Zhuo Tingyun bowed and led Yi Shang and the others out of the tent. Then he talked about the history of the Green Phoenix Army, their military exploits, and their rules. Within the Green Phoenix Army, only those with the rank of captain and above could not stay in the barracks. The other soldiers had to stay in the barracks to train and cultivate. Don't blame the Thunder God General for rejecting you. In the Green Phoenix Army, the Thunder God General is the strongest, the most cohesive army, and also the army with the most outstanding military achievements. There were many people who held high positions in the Qing Emperor's empire, who wanted to send their descendants to the Thunder God General for military achievements. In the end, they were chased away by the Thunder God General. On this point, the Thunder God General will not give face to anyone, including the princes and imperial descendants. Zhuo Tingyun said. The commander of the army must be upright and plain-spoken. He must adhere to his principles. Otherwise, how can he convince the masses and lead the army? Knight Sorrow understands this point, and also admires it. Night Sorrow nodded. He understood that the Thunder God General did not want him. In the command tent, the Thunder God General said, "Commander, that person is too young." Although it is very impressive that he has the cultivation of a 2-star king at such a young age, the Thunder God General has always been in a bloodbath. He might not be able to withstand it. Ah, Thunder God General, you are looking down on him. His name is Night Sorrow. Since his debut, he has been fighting for his destiny. He has experienced many battles big and small. Moreover, he was once a commander and has led many world wars. He is not joining the Thunder God General for military achievements. He really has the ability. Do you think your Majesty will joke about the Thunder God General? Princess Green Phoenix said. She understood that the Thunder God General looked down on Night Sorrow. If the Thunder God General does not want him, my Black Armored Army will. An old man with a thick beard said. He was the Black Armored Army's commander, Zhu Xuanjia. When the Green Phoenix Army was established, the 4 commanders were the commanders who supported the Green Phoenix Army. Therefore, the 4 armies of the Green Phoenix Army had the names of the 4 commanders. No. Thunder God General, bring Night Sorrow over. This is a military order. As for whether he can become a small or large captain, it will depend on his own ability. In the future, he will be a normal soldier in the Thunder God General. Your Majesty's relationship with him has nothing to do with the Green Phoenix Army, Princess Green Phoenix said. This subordinate understands. Qin Leitang bowed and said. Then let's go. Bring him over and take a look. Your Majesty is also curious to see how far he can go, Princess Green Phoenix said. This commander will also go and take a look. Zhu Xuanjia was very interested in Night Sorrow. The other 2 commanders also followed. They all wanted to know what was so special about this person that Princess Green Phoenix thought highly of. After the few of them left the tent, they called out Night Sorrow and the other 2 and came to the tent where the Thunder God General was located. Night Sorrow, this lord is the Thunder God General, Qin Leitang. The commander wants you to join the Thunder God General. To be honest, this lord does not want you. However, military orders cannot be ignored. Now this lord has a few questions to ask you. If this lord is not satisfied, you can go back to where you came from. Qin Leitang looked at Night Sorrow and said. Night Sorrow understands. Commander, please ask. Night Sorrow said. What is the most important thing in an army? Qin Leitang asked. The army's soul, morale, unity and the commander's wisdom. Night Sorrow said. Tell me. Qin Leitang was stunned for a moment. Chapter 1931. The Dark Ruler is a woman? Night Sorrow asked in surprise. Yes, she's a strong, scheming, and domineering woman. She's the #1 woman in the world of reincarnation. Summer City nodded. Women are good at scheming. We should be careful. Night Sorrow nodded. What are you talking about? Lanning glanced at Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow raised his head and found several sharp gazes looking at him. Hong Yi, Lanning, and Qing Wan were all looking at him. I don't mean what you think. What I mean is that women are meticulous and think things through carefully, so we have to be careful. I don't mean anything else. What are you thinking? Yi Shan said, somewhat speechless. Night Sorrow then went down the city wall and set up a few formations. It wasn't a trap, but it would definitely be effective in a big battle. After setting up the formations, Night Sorrow patrolled the city and asked about the losses. Night Sorrow then learned that they had lost 2 armies. The main reason was that the Lin Wan army had started to suffer heavy losses. Most % new 3 chapters G, on LD Cool, Craftsman F Net B. After writing the battle report, Night Sorrow went to the top of the city gate. When the Dark Ruler gives the order, I'll slaughter your fragrant Jade City. Seeing Night Sorrow's leisurely attitude, Shirshua was filled with anger. Idiot. When you attacked me just now, I didn't put up any defenses. But you didn't dare. Why don't you try attacking me now? Let's see if you'll leave behind another 4 armies. Night Sorrow sneered. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Shirshua was so angry that his head buzzed. However, he didn't dare to attack just now, and there was no news from the Bone Palace. Shirshua's messenger also passed the news to the Great Bone Hall. Human nature. Once he understands the worries and misgivings of others, the war won't be easy to fight. Rowan, send someone to kill that guy. Then we'll fight again. With this thorn in our side, we won't be a match for him. The Darkness Lord made his decision after hearing the messenger's words. What about the bloodthirsty army? Rowan asked. Retreat to Blackwater Town and wait for this brat to die. Dark ruler Datira gave the order. Shirshua retreated with the bloodthirsty army because he couldn't take down Fragrant Sky City. Night Sorrow nodded to Qing Yuan. Send the news back to the Empire. Unless there's a big change or they come up with a plan, the situation will go back to how it was before. The Bloodthirsty Legion retreated. After confirming that the Bloodthirsty Legion had returned to Blackwater Town, Night Sorrow led his men back to the 9-story tower and Heaven Tiger Pass. In the Azure Sky Pavilion, the Azure Supreme Tharch was reading the battle report. The ruler of darkness, Mandela, once said that if she personally led the army, she could take down our Azure Supreme Tharch Empire and the Red Emperor Kingdom at any time. This time, they were slapped in the face. They lost 4 more armies. How can they fight? More than a dozen armies were wiped out just like that. Our Azure Emperor dynasty's losses added up to only 1 army. The difference is huge. However, given Mandela's personality, she won't give up just like that. She probably has something else up her sleeve, Xiandaozi said. Her backup plan is probably the same as the Red Emperor's. She wants to kill Night Sorrow. But do you think it's that easy? Besides, Night Sorrow's doppelganger is out there. It's impossible for them to kill Night Sorrow. Qing Emperor sneered. Night Sorrow returned to Ninechong Tower and received many visitors, including princes and officials. This time, Night Sorrow raised the prestige of the Qing Emperor's dynasty. World of Reincarnation, Heaven-Seizing Island. This was a special country. The island owner, Zhan Taiyang, was one of the giants in the World of Reincarnation. If the East District of the World of Reincarnation had 3 top forces, then the North District was dominated by the Heaven-Seizing Island. Zhan Taiyang was reading the information about the East District of the World of Reincarnation. Island owner, this Night Sorrow is the person I divined. Because we were far away, the Qing Emperor got the upper hand. A man said. He was the chief diviner of Wuyo Archipelago, Jiang Wuyu. In a situation where the major powers can't easily make a move, with such an invincible commander, the development of the Azure Divine Empire will be very stable. Furthermore, his potential is also very shocking. This island lord has outstanding talent, and is worthy for this island lord to use the heaven-seizing technique, Zhan Taiyang said. But if we do that, the Qing Emperor might go crazy. Jiang Wuyu was stunned. He will go crazy? Who will he go crazy with? Now that the Qing Emperor's dynasty and the Dark Abyss are in a confrontation, he will look for Datira. This blame will be taken by Datira. All right, you will be in charge of the matters of the heaven-seizing island. I will go out for a walk. Zhan Taiyang said, and left the main hall of the heaven-seizing island. Jiang Wuyu knew that the world of reincarnation was going to be chaotic. The East District of the world of reincarnation was already chaotic. If Zhan Taiyang acted, it would be even more chaotic. Originally, Zhan Taiyang's aptitude was very ordinary. The reason why he was able to have such great achievements now was because of a strange technique that he had researched, the heaven-seizing technique. It could be used to steal other people's cultivation aptitude, and even their attributes. This was one of the important reasons for Zhan Taiyang's achievements. However, the heaven-seizing technique was an evil technique. It had a great effect on karma. Therefore, Zhan Taiyang wouldn't act unless he met a cultivator with heaven-defying talent. In the Dark Abyss, Datira told Rowan and set out. Night Sorrow's existence was a hindrance to the development of the Dark Abyss. He had to be eliminated. Night Sorrow stayed in the 9-story tower every day. When he was free, he would deduce formations like his clone in the Heaven-Sealing Hall. The Qing Emperor gave Night Sorrow a manual on formations. At the same time, he also understood the Heaven-Sealing Formation and the Heaven-Locking Formation. These 2 formations were extensive and profound. The heaven-locking formation was a natural formation that contained the truth of heaven. The heaven-sealing formation was the essence of the Qing Emperor's cultivation in formations. Knight Sorrow didn't know that he was in danger now. Many people were eyeing him covetously and were about to act. Knight Sorrow didn't know, but the Qing Emperor and Summer City knew that the secret guards of the Qing Emperor's palace had been lurking outside the 9-story tower and dealt with several groups of assassins from the Red Emperor's kingdom. Summer City also felt the crisis. As a cultivator who had cultivated for countless years, he knew how deep the water in the world of samsara was. Knight Sorrow's existence made all forces feel the crisis. Not to mention other things, the Red Emperor's kingdom and the Dark Abyss didn't want Knight Sorrow to live. Knight Sorrow was a threat now. When he grew up, he would be a greater threat. Summer City arranged Fei Xiao and Shen Han to patrol the 9-story tower every day, not giving anyone a chance to sneak in. Knight Sorrow, who didn't feel anything at first, also felt the crisis. After thinking for a while, he gathered his family members together. Knight Sorrow, is there anything wrong? Yuqing looked at her son and asked. Chapter 1932. Then are you going back? Xigong Qiyu asked. I still have things to do here, so I can't leave. Besides, I have Uncle Xiao's protection, Fei Xiao, and the others. My personal safety is not a problem. I'm just worried that someone will attack you and use you to threaten me, Knight Sorrow said. All right, let's do as Knight Sorrow says. Let's not make him worry, Yi Wuyo said. Yi Shang bowed to his father. His father supported him in everything he did. After sending his family away, Knight Sorrow felt much more at ease. Looking at Knight Sorrow, who was deep in thought, Hong Yi made a pot of tea for Knight Sorrow. At this moment, Hong Yi and Lanning were clones. They had used time acceleration in the space-time pagoda to successfully condense their clones. I don't need anyone to take care of me. You can go back. Knight Sorrow looked at Hong Yi and Lanning. He wanted to chase Xuexi away, but Hong Yi and Lanning insisted. Their clones were king, so they had to serve Knight Sorrow. Young master, don't say any more. We are clones. Even if something happens, no one can use us to threaten you, Hong Yi said with a smile. All right. You win. Then that's it. No one can do anything to us if they come looking for trouble. Knight Sorrow nodded and drank his tea. Knight Sorrow studied Array Dao every day. In addition, he watched the army train. The god-slaying team also trained with the army. Everyone's cultivation improved very quickly, especially Tianyu and Yi Mei. Both of them were now Saint Kings. Knight Sorrow had to admire them for this. Talented monster beasts were powerful. Some bottlenecks did not exist at all. Returning to Origin, which had blocked countless people, was nothing to them. Some others had also entered the Saint Realm because Knight Sorrow had given them a batch of Saint Crystals. There was no problem for them to enter the Saint Realm. Knight Sorrow told them that if they wanted to practice combat, they could train with the Nine Heavens Army. If they wanted to improve their cultivation, they had to return to Sky City. Knight Sorrow had his wife bring the space-time pagoda back to Sky City. He didn't need the space-time pagoda now, but many people around him needed it. Knight Sorrow did not have to worry about the Heaven Tiger Pass because Nu Lin was there. Nu Lin was quite talented, and with Knight Sorrow's support, the other commanders were willing to help him defend the Heaven Tiger Pass. That night Sorrow was resting on the recliner with his eyes closed when Qing Wan came. After inviting Green Phoenix to sit down, Knight Sorrow brewed a pot of tea. Is there a problem with the Green Phoenix army? Yes, Junior Brother Yi. You should be clear about the original situation of the Green Phoenix army. After the Thunder army left, their strength decreased a lot. Later on, they merged with the Green Qilin army. Speaking of which, it was to fight with you. Now that this situation is no longer necessary, I plan to make some changes. The formation of the Nine Heavens Army has indeed decreased the strength of the Azure Qilin and Green Phoenix armies. You can ask Master to see if he can replenish the troops. Knight Sorrow knew that the strength of the Azure Qilin and Green Phoenix armies was not as good as before. Father said that he won't ask about the matters of the armies now. You can make the decision, Green Phoenix said. Her face was a little unnatural. She was the real princess, but now she had to listen to Knight Sorrow. mainly because she had made things difficult for Night Sorrow some time ago. So she was a little embarrassed at this moment. The Nine Heavens Army has 7 armies, but they are all newly formed. Now is a special time, so we can't touch them. Night Sorrow thought for a moment and said, I don't have any ideas about the Nine Heavens Army. Junior Brother Knight, see if you can give a military order to Pine Yuan City's army to have Azure Qilin and Green Phoenix replenish an army each. Only then can our army be considered complete. Green Phoenix hurriedly explained. She did not want Night Sorrow to misunderstand that she was thinking about the Nine Heavens Army. A while ago, Pine Yuan City replenished our Nine Heavens Army with 2 armies. We don't know if they still have the ability to do so. Rashly giving a military order might make things difficult for them. How about this? Let's go to Pine Yuan City and see what the army there has to say. Night Sorrow said. Then many thanks, Junior Brother Knight. Green Phoenix stood up and cupped her hands towards Night Sorrow. SQ is the fastest, go cool 2 craftsmen. Afterwards, Night Sorrow brought Summer City and Qing Emperor's Guard Squad to Pine Yuan City. Pine Yuan City's army was very courteous when they saw Night Sorrow. Now that Night Sorrow was the Empire's #1 commander, he could command all the armies and guards. It's like this. Azure Qilin and Green Phoenix armies are not fully staffed and want to replenish. Pine Yuan City replenished the Nine Heavens Army with 2 armies a while ago. So I came to see if the situation allows Azure Qilin and Green Phoenix armies to expand. Night Sorrow explained his intentions. This is a bit rushed, but your Majesty can give this subordinate 3 months. Right now we are all new. If we rashly transfer them away, their combat strength will also be a problem. Pine Yuan City's army commander said. Alright, then I'll trouble you. When the time is right, replenish Azure Qilin and Green Phoenix armies. By the way, I'm not overstepping my authority by asking about this matter, right? Night Sorrow asked. Not at all. This doesn't count. Right now, everything in Pine Yuan City should be reported to your Majesty. It's just that there have been many things recently, so this subordinate wasn't in a hurry. Pine Yuan City's army commander bowed. Afterwards, Night Sorrow brought his men and Green Phoenix back to the 9 grand floors. The situation is like this. Princess can only wait for 3 more months. Thank you, Junior Brother Knight. Thank you for your magnanimity and for not bickering with Green Phoenix. Green Phoenix cupped her hands towards Night Sorrow. Today, she had seen Night Sorrow's magnanimity and felt a bit guilty. It's nothing. If there are any problems with your defense line, let me know. Night Sorrow shook his head. Looking at Green Phoenix's departing figure, Summer City said, Your Majesty really doesn't care about her and Azure Qilin being ostracized? What's there to care about? Her father's empire having some thoughts is understandable. Let's just let it pass. The main thing is that I can't make Master unhappy, Night Sorrow said. Yes, His Majesty taking you as his disciple is really worry-free, Summer City said. The 2 of them didn't know that Zhang Taiyong had already arrived at the Qing Emperor's city. He hid his cultivation and walked around the Qing Emperor's city. It was easy for him to find the 9 grand floors. Then he stayed in an inn not far from the 9 grand floors. He wanted to observe the situation. Night Sorrow was very important to him. The King of Time and Space dual attributes was worthy of him using the heaven-seizing technique. In the world of reincarnation, there were many King of Life, Death, and Space, but almost none of the King of Time attribute. The Time attribute was very difficult to comprehend. It was the most powerful attribute in the world of reincarnation. Zhang Taiyong felt that if he could use the heaven-seizing technique on Night Sorrow, regardless of whether he could break through the bottleneck, his battle strength would increase greatly. He would be able to suppress the few big shots in the world of reincarnation. Not long after Zhang Taiyong stayed in the inn, Datura also appeared. She was wearing a simple black dress with Datura flowers embroidered on it. It was very unique. Chapter 1933. Night Sorrow felt a little strange. He couldn't describe this feeling, but he felt a little uneasy. He brewed a pot of heart-cleansing tea, but it was still the same. He didn't understand the situation. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow asked Hong Yi to teleport to 7 Night City and City in the Sky to take a look. He also instructed the guards of the Inter-Realm Teleportation Formation. Then he went to Sky Tiger Pass to check on everything. After that, Night Sorrow brought Summer City to the Merit Hall of the Qing Emperor's Palace to exchange for the secret method to refine the Inter-Realm Teleportation Stone. He planned to find time to refine the Inter-Realm Teleportation Stone. Only then could the 9 regions world truly rest in peace, Wuyo. Night Sorrow also asked about it. His contribution points in the Qing Emperor's Palace had already reached 3 million. This was a report from the military after several wars. The Qing Emperor had personally approved it. Contribution points were hard currency. They could be exchanged for cultivation time in the Reincarnation Palace, resources, and so on. Night Sorrow didn't need to exchange for anything. He now had 130 years of cultivation time in the Reincarnation Palace. When he needed it, it would probably be the next time he went into seclusion. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow took the teleportation formation to 7 Night City and refined the Inter-Realm Teleportation Stone. In other words, as long as he didn't bring anyone with a higher cultivation than him, they wouldn't be able to enter the 9 regions world through the teleportation formation. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow felt that he didn't need to deal with the teleportation formation connected to the Wuji world. Yin Tianpa wouldn't allow King to enter the Wuji world. The teleportation formation was connected to his soul. As long as someone's cultivation was higher than him, he would be alerted and could control the teleportation. After doing this, Night Sorrow felt a little more at ease. Then he took the teleportation formation back to the 9 regions building. Your Highness should be relieved now. The 9 regions world is impregnable. Even a powerhouse can't forcefully attack it, Summer City said. Night Sorrow nodded. He knew that the 9 regions world was safe, but he was still a little nervous. However, he didn't say anything else. At this moment, a figure appeared outside the 9 regions building. A large hand grabbed towards Night Sorrow. How dare you? Summer City took a step forward and slashed out with his saber. A mantis trying to stop a chariot. A cold voice rang out as the giant hand in the air smashed downwards. Damn it, so you're Zhan Taiyang, that shameless old man. Summer City slashed furiously with his saber, but the big fist in the air kept smashing down. Your Highness, let's go. Summer City roared angrily. He was no match for Zhan Taiyang. Zhan Taiyang was a sky pillar with a cultivation level higher than the monarch realm. He was just stuck at a bottleneck and had not reached the 9th rank. He was not someone he could fight against. If you want to stop me, then you can die. He can forget about leaving as well. Soaring fire sky. Zhan Taiyang, who was in the air, spread out his left hand and countless flames surrounded the 9 stories pavilion. You're not qualified to kill my Summer City. Your Highness, stand behind me. 7 killers of the universe. Summer City waved his saber and gathered the energy of heaven and earth. He wanted to kill his way out and take Night Sorrow away. With a muffled sound, Zhan Taiyang's fist was shattered by Summer City. Summer City brought Night Sorrow out of the pavilion, but he was blocked by Zhan Taiyang again. You don't know what's good for you. Then die. Zhan Taiyang's body danced. His right hand gathered red and black energy and attacked Summer City. With a muffled sound, Summer City's body was pushed back and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Zhan Taiyang's will was complete and he was not someone he could fight against, so he was severely injured. Zhan Taiyang, you're courting death. At this moment, an angry roar rang out. Then a sword light appeared. This sword light seemed to have cut open space and the world as it slashed towards Zhan Taiyang. It was the Qing Emperor. The Qing Emperor had arrived. When Zhan Taiyang attacked, Summer City had sent a message. Even if Summer City did not send a message, Zhan Taiyang's all-out attack had attracted the attention of the Qing Emperor. After the Qing Emperor arrived, he started fighting with Zhan Taiyang in the sky above the 9 grand floors. He was furious. Night Sorrow was his favorite disciple. Now that Zhan Taiyang attacked Night Sorrow, it was the same as slapping his face. How could he not be angry? Uncle Summer, how are you? Night Sorrow supported Summer City and fed Summer City elixir of life and elixir of origin. This shameless old man. Summer City cursed. Now that Master is here, everything will be fine. Uncle Summer, heal your wounds first. Night Sorrow helped Summer City sit down and watched the battle in the sky. Zhang Taiyang did not want to expose himself at first, but after observing for a while, he realized that Summer City was Night Sorrow's follower and would not leave Night Sorrow's side. He had no choice but to get Summer City under his control first. After all, he was not afraid of the Qing Emperor's dynasty. However, he did not expect Summer City to be so strong that he stopped him directly. Qing Emperor, I want this disciple of yours. Go and get another one. A figure flew out from Zhang Taiyang's body and rushed towards Night Sorrow. A big hand grabbed Night Sorrow and dragged him away. This figure was Zhang Taiyang's clone. He realized that he could not defeat the Qing Emperor, so he did not want to waste any more time. He wanted to capture Night Sorrow and leave. How dare you? Qing Emperor slashed at Zhang Taiyang's clone with a sword light. However, Zhang Taiyang's clone dodged Qing Emperor's sword light. Cut. At this time, a blade light came out from the space crack. It was aimed at Zhang Taiyang's back after he dodged Qing Emperor's sword light. Before the blade light, there was a black light wave that controlled Zhang Taiyang's clone. Then the blade light cut Zhang Taiyang's clone into two halves. Datira, you and I are irreconcilable enemies. Zhang Taiyang roared. He suffered a great loss when his clone was cut down. Now Datira was holding the storage ring of his clone in her left hand. Datira was holding a black battle saber with patterns on it in her right hand, and the storage ring of Zhang Taiyang's clone in her left hand. Night Sorrow was also imprisoned by her side. You and I are irreconcilable enemies? Are you trying to scare me? Let me tell you, this is the eastern region of the world of Samsara. I can do whatever I want with Qing Emperor and Red Emperor. If you dare to come, I will kill you. Datira said to Zhang Taiyang. All of you, remember this. Zhang Taiyang roared. His body emitted a red light, and his body drew an arc in the air as he flashed away. Zhang Taiyang, I have something to deal with today. Otherwise, I will kill you. Qing Emperor didn't chase after him. Instead, he looked at Datira, who had caught Night Sorrow. Qing Emperor, don't look at me like I am your enemy. I snatched him from Zhang Taiyang. Datira pulled Night Sorrow to his side with his left hand. Are you doing this for no reason? Qing Emperor looked at Datira and said, do you think I'll care if there's a name or not? This guy killed 11 soldiers of my dark abyss. I can't do anything to him. Datira's eyes were full of killing intent. In 2 wars, Night Sorrow killed 11 soldiers of the dark abyss. It was a slap to Datira's face. He is the commander of the army. There is nothing wrong with commanding the war, right? As long as you let him go. I promise you that he will no longer participate in the war between the Qing Emperor's dynasty and the Dark Abyss, Qing Emperor said. Chapter 1934. Looking at Night Sorrow, who was captured, Qing Emperor actually compromised. Otherwise, he wouldn't have said that Night Sorrow would no longer participate in the army battle. There is no room for discussion. I will take him away. You can't stop me. You reap what you sow. Datira shook his head. Do you really want me to fight to the death with you? Qing Emperor's long sword flowed with a green light. It could be seen that his emotions were fluctuating. Master, this disciple has troubled you. But what can she do to me? Go. Night Sorrow roared. A green light appeared on his body. He broke through space with his storage ring and weapons and entered the space turbulence. What did you do? Datira looked at Night Sorrow suspiciously and asked. I didn't do anything. I gave away all the important things on me. Now I am just a clone. You can kill me if you want. Using me to threaten my master? You think too much. Night Sorrow said coldly. Haha. Good. Qing Emperor laughed loudly. You want to challenge me? Who do you think I am? I have never been threatened by anyone. I have many ways to make you compromise. Datira's energy that wrapped around Night Sorrow vibrated. Who knows, it might shatter Night Sorrow in the next moment. Are you trying to scare me? There is no harm in telling you. What just left was the world's origin. I am the Realm Lord. In my world, I am immortal. Can you bite me? Let me tell you, from today onwards, I will fight you. Master, don't be threatened by him. I have a treasure that can accelerate space. Cultivating a clone will take a few years. Night Sorrow looked coldly at Datira. How much soul energy do you have to cultivate a clone? Datira narrowed his eyes and looked at Night Sorrow. I'm sorry, but I refined a bunch of supplement spirit pills. Do you think I'm not afraid of losing my clone? Night Sorrow said with a smile on his face. All right, let's see how she's going to play. At worst, you can just disperse this avatar. Master will help you settle your grudge. Qing Emperor was also confident in his heart because Datira really couldn't do anything to Night Sorrow. New chapter 0. Cool craftsman Datira grabbed Night Sorrow and left in a flash. Qing Emperor didn't chase after him because it was useless. Night Sorrow was in Datira's hands, and he couldn't snatch it away. At this time, Summer City had recovered a little. Your Majesty, it's my fault for not protecting Night Sorrow well. No one can protect him. Night Sorrow should have dispersed his avatar directly. That way, I could have fought and helped him vent his anger, Qing Emperor said with a frown. It's not that His Highness doesn't have guts. It's just that His Highness's original body is cultivating in the Samsara Palace. If his avatar died at this time, it would affect his original body's cultivation, Summer City said. I see. Then let's wait. Summer City, you go back with me first. When Night Sorrow comes back, you can come back. Qing Emperor looked at Summer City and said. His Highness isn't here. I have to look after the house. I'll wait for His Highness in the Nine Chong Tower, Summer City said. When they returned to the Qing Emperor's palace, Qing Emperor told Xian Daozi and Zhan Tan about this. Bastard! How dare they attack junior brother? Master, I'm going to fight. I'm going to make a river of blood flow in the dark abyss. Zhan Tan's body was full of murderous intent. This matter had crossed his bottom line. Okay, just teach them a lesson. Remember, after killing them, retreat. Go somewhere else and kill them. Qing Emperor nodded. He was also a man with guts. Datira's actions had angered him. Then Qing Emperor called Tan Lin, asking him to go to the Nine Chong Tower and Sky Tiger Pass to stabilize the Nine Heavens army. But in reality, even if Tan Lin went, it would be useless. The 7 generals of the Nine Heaven army gathered and expressed their stance. The Nine Heaven army would only listen to the imperial decree and Yi Shang's orders. Unless Yi Shang died or Yi Shang personally said that he did not care about the Nine Heaven army anymore, no one else could interfere. If there was a problem, they would resolve it. When Tan Lin returned to report, he thought Qing Emperor would be angry. Unexpectedly, Qing Emperor only nodded and said, This is what it means to lead an army. Don't ask about the Nine Heavens army for now. They aren't brainless people. Datira brought Night Sorrow to the Dark Abyss and Whitebone Hall. He tossed Night Sorrow into the hall. Datira's dress was embroidered with Datira's flower. Datira then sat down on the white bone throne. You don't have to be so rude. Either you kill me or be more polite. There's no point in beating me up like this, said Night Sorrow as he stood up and tidied up his battle robes after being thrown to the ground. Ruler, who is this? Rowan asked. As Rowan spoke, Demon Blood, who was standing in the white bone hall, took action. He punched Night Sorrow and sent him flying. Then he pulled out his great sword and slashed at Night Sorrow. Stop. Demon Blood, you are too impudent. Datira waved his arm, sending Demon Blood flying. Ruler, please punish me. However, he killed 11 legions of the Dark Abyss. All of the Demon Blood Legion's soldiers died at his hands, Demon Blood said as he knelt on one knee before Datira. Night Sorrow stood up and straightened out his robes again. He wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and looked at Demon Blood. You still have the face to say that? That wasn't my problem, nor was it the Dark Abyss's problem. A general can't exhaust 1,000 soldiers. You deserve to die. Demon Blood wanted nothing more than to cut Night Sorrow into 1,000 pieces. However, without Datira's permission, he didn't dare. Night Sorrow, tell me, what do you want an order for me to serve you? Datira asked Night Sorrow. Then you should just kill me. Night Sorrow didn't refuse. However, his words left no room for negotiation. You will come to your senses. Men, bring him to the Dragonbone Hall and lock him up, Datura ordered. Then, someone escorted Knight Sorrow to the Dragonbone Hall and locked him up with a meteorite chain that had been reinforced by an array formation. Knight Sorrow wanted to brew tea, but the tea set and wine were in his storage ring. The 9 regions origin bead had taken them away, and they were still flying toward the 9 regions world. With nothing to do, Knight Sorrow sat down to meditate and deduce an array formation. 4 hours later, Datura arrived at the Dragonbone Hall. How about it? Think about it. Whatever the Qing Emperor can give you, I can give you too. The commander can, and so can His Highness. The Qing Emperor has a son. You aren't the only highness in the Qing Emperor's dynasty, but you can in the Dark Abyss. I have no descendants or disciples. If you agree, you will be the only highness in the Dark Abyss, Datura said as he sat on the main seat in the Dragonbone Hall. Ruler, you are very sincere. However, Master has treated me well. I can't betray him. I can only say that I am not fated with the Dark Abyss, Knight Sorrow said. However, you should know that I was the one who saved you from Zhan Taiyang. Do you know who Zhan Taiyang is? Island Lord Duotian. His talent is at the level of trash, but he developed a special technique, the heaven-seizing technique. It can seize other people's talent, opportunities, and luck. Don't be fooled by your avatar. Even if you disperse your avatar, he can still capture your soul power and use some methods. Therefore, you should be grateful, Datura said as he brewed tea. Chapter 1935. You are the first person to speak to me in the Dragonbone Palace. I will give you some tea. Datura waved her arm, and the small tea table in front of her flew to Knight Sorrow. I am already in this state. Who do I need to be polite to? Knight Sorrow took the tea set and started to make tea. Knight Sorrow knew very well that it was impossible for him to betray the Qing Emperor's empire. Datura would also not let him go. This doppelganger would definitely be destroyed. The reason why he was delaying it now was so that he would not interrupt the cultivation of his original body. The Dragonbone Palace is where I rest and cultivate. Think about it carefully. If you have any requests, I will definitely satisfy you. I am ruthless, broad-minded, and magnanimous. For example, I offended Zhan Taiyang for the sake of the world of reincarnation's eastern region, Datura said. If you can prove that Zhan Taiyang can hurt my doppelganger, then I, Knight Sorrow, will owe you a favor. Knight Sorrow took a sip of tea and said, Your favor is useless. I can do whatever you can do. I see that you are a talent. I hope that you will serve me and the Dark Abyss. Datura glanced at Knight Sorrow. She did not care about Knight Sorrow's favor. Don't bully the young. Who knows what will happen in the future? Knight Sorrow did not take Datura's disdain to heart. Are you really not willing to serve me and the Dark Abyss? The army of the Dark Abyss is strong and has more people. It will give you more space to perform. Datura stared into Knight Sorrow's eyes and asked, I really hate war. War represents death. Therefore, I really can't serve the Dark Abyss, Knight Sorrow said. Then you should know that I won't let you leave. Also, according to your character recorded in the information, and you've made preparations, why don't you disperse your clone? Why are you in a stalemate with me? Datura was puzzled. Let's not beat around the bush. My main body is currently in cultivation retreat. It is currently in the midst of a state of epiphany. I am not afraid of my doppelganger dying. However, it would disrupt my main body's epiphany. It would be best to minimize the losses. Whenever you want to kill me, just do it, said Knight Sorrow after taking a sip of tea. Epiphany. It seems you are really a talent. Datura swayed her skirt and sat on the praying mat to meditate. Knight Sorrow also began to meditate. He continued to deduce the array formation and studied the essence of the heaven-locking array and heaven-sealing array. 3 days later, someone came to Dragonbone Palace to request an audience. It was Luowan. After Luowan entered, he reported to Datura that the Qing Emperor dynasty's sandalwood was massacring the towns and fortresses of the Dark Abyss. Several city lords, commanders, and generals had already been killed. Is this guy crazy? Datura frowned. That lunatic said that as long as we imprison his junior brother, Night Sorrow, he will slaughter the Dark Abyss. Those city lords and generals can't stop him at all. His targets are the leaders of some of the Dark Abyss's cities and armies, Luo Wen reported. It seems the bond between brothers is deep. Night Sorrow, you have been in the Qing Emperor dynasty for less than a year, right? Why would Sandalwood risk his life for you? Datira looked at Night Sorrow in confusion. I can do anything for senior brother. Senior brother naturally wouldn't stand by and do nothing while I am imprisoned, Night Sorrow said. You can do anything for him? It seems the relationship between you two isn't simple. Datira discovered the meaning behind Night Sorrow's words. That's right. Senior brother is imprisoned in the Devil Ceiling Tower by Master. I often visit him. We are the only disciples under Master, so we naturally have to support each other. Night Sorrow nodded. You were the one who cured his madness. Datira asked after some thought. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation Genuine Edition. One first shot. This wasn't because Datira was smart. It was because Sandalwood had been imprisoned for 5 million years. If the Qing Emperor and the others could cure him, Sandalwood wouldn't have been so crazy. Night Sorrow had been in the Qing Emperor dynasty, and Sandalwood had recovered. The two were naturally related. Yes. Night Sorrow didn't try to hide it. It seems you are quite capable. Tell Sandalwood that Night Sorrow is a guest in the Dark Abyss. I have no plans to kill him yet. If he acts recklessly again, I will immediately kill his junior brother, Datira instructed Rowan. Ruler, don't we need to send someone to kill him? Rowan asked in a low voice. If I don't act, no one in the Dark Abyss can kill him. At most, they can force him to retreat. It's meaningless. Just follow my orders. He will retreat. Datira waved his hand, dismissing Rowan. Glancing at Night Sorrow, Datira continued to meditate. Now that Night Sorrow wasn't willing to compromise, there was nothing she could do. Killing him was just a clone. There wasn't much point in doing so. It was useless to force him. When he couldn't bear it or wasn't willing to bear it, Night Sorrow would disperse the clone. When that happened, Datira would have done all her work for nothing. Not only would she have offended the Qing Emperor, but she would also have offended Zhang Taiyang. Of course, Datira wasn't afraid, but she would still be at a disadvantage. Sandalwood retreated, but before he left behind a message. If anything happened to Night Sorrow's clone, he would carry out an endless slaughter in the Dark Abyss. A threat was a threat. After returning to the Qing Emperor's palace, Sandalwood reported to the Qing Emperor. He didn't want to force Datira too much. After all, it was better not to lose Night Sorrow's clone. You did the right thing. Your junior brother is fine in her hands. The worst outcome would be your junior brother losing one of his clones. If it fell into Zhang Taiyang's hands, that would be a huge problem. Datira helped us this time. Qing Emperor said. Your Majesty, many people have their eyes on His Highness Night Sorrow. The fact that Zhang Taiyang and Mandela took action proves this point. He is different from Her Highness Sandalwood. When Her Highness Sandalwood traveled the world, she already had the ability to protect herself. His Highness Night Sorrow is still lacking, said Xiandaozi. Not really. Night Sorrow is a realm lord. His ability to protect himself is still very strong, unless he meets an evil person like Zhang Taiyang. However, Zhang Taiyang also suffered heavy losses this time. Qing Emperor said. Your Majesty, you can tell His Highness that if he meets with danger next time, he can just disperse his clone and leave with the world origin bead wrapped in his soul power. That way the enemy can't do anything. Xiandaozi said. Let's wait for Night Sorrow to return. Let's see how he and Datira will end this time. Qing Emperor nodded. He felt that he had overlooked some problems. Datira was very quiet. After knowing that Sandalwood had retreated, she had been meditating quietly every day. She didn't send out any troops to fight the Qing Emperor's dynasty. Night Sorrow had been deducing formations every day because he had nothing to do, other than making tea to calm himself down. Although he was chained by the meteorite iron, Night Sorrow had a rare moment of peace. Datira was the Dark Ruler. The tea he drank was of the highest quality. Night Sorrow had been making tea every day and studying formations. It was very relaxing. Chapter 1936. Commander, you can let someone else do this. You don't have to do it yourself, Newlin said. The soldiers of Sky Tiger Army were killed, and I have to bear most of the responsibility. I can't run away from this. I have to bear the consequences of my actions. Just do as I say. Night Sorrow rejected Newlin's suggestion. He had to kill Chi-Du then. Night Sorrow set up a teleportation array in Sky Tiger Pass. The main reason was that Heaven Tiger Pass could not afford to lose the teleportation crystal in its main teleportation array. Now, using a teleportation crystal that could be cut into a teleportation crystal to set up the teleportation array was enough. After setting up the teleportation array, Night Sorrow brought people out of Sky Tiger Pass. To make it less of a target, Night Sorrow only brought Summer City, Facio, and the Scout. Red Coat and Blue Shadow left Night Sorrow in Sky Tiger Pass. After leaving Sky Tiger Pass, Night Sorrow closed the sealed sky matrix. Then, under the guidance of the Scout, they went to the area where the Chi-Du army was and set up an ambush. Your Highness, we don't know how they're going to move the armies. We only know that Akatsuki has formed an army. Will this plan work? Summer City asked. It will. No matter how they move, we just have to keep an eye on the Chi-Du army. When the other two armies can't help, that's when we can eat them up, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow felt that no matter how the Red Emperor's armies moved, the three armies couldn't move together. As long as the three legions split up to deal with the Green Qilin and Green Phoenix legions, that would be his chance. As long as the Sky Heart and Crimson Painting legions were 2 to 4 hours away from the Chi capital, he would dare to make a move. Summer City nodded. He could see that Night Sorrow was determined to kill Chi-Du. Night Sorrow waited for news. He had spies by his side, and the spies' main bodies were in the Heaven Tiger Pass. If there were any battle reports, they would inform him immediately. The Red Emperor's army was very efficient. This was also Akatsuki's first time leading an army into battle. The Red Emperor's officials cooperated fully. In just 2 days, Akatsuki's men were marching towards Sky Tiger Pass. After hearing the report from the Scout, Night Sorrow waved his arm. Very good. It seems like the army is changing their defense. Akatsuki's men, Ma-Chong, will be blocking the front. However, at Heaven Tiger Pass, Chiwa and the Crimson Dew army will be leaving to block Qinglin and Qingwan. Once they move, it will be our chance. That was Summer City's evaluation of Night Sorrow. He felt that Night Sorrow was always able to find the crux of the problem. Chi-Du was being targeted. This was bad luck. Chi-Du received the notice to wait for the Sky Heart army to arrive. He would then go and fight the Green Phoenix army. Chi-Du was convinced by the Red Emperor's arrangements. Although Night Sorrow didn't give him face and he wanted to kill Night Sorrow, he knew that his men couldn't fight against the Nine Heaven army alone. I hope the Crown Prince can intimidate the Nine Heaven army and kill Night Sorrow. Sector Lord? Even a Sector Lord can fall. Chi-Du murmured. Night Sorrow was thinking about dealing with him. He also wanted to kill Night Sorrow quickly. After all, for countless years, no one had dared to humiliate him. If we want to get rid of him completely, we still need to solve the problem of his original body. The old man beside Chi-Du said. This old man's name was Ganqing. He was the personal bodyguard that the Red Emperor had arranged for Chi-Du. He was also very strong. This bastard is a Sector Lord. His original body is hiding in the Nine Regions world. It is indeed very difficult to kill him. At that time, it was all because of that bitch Green Phoenix. If she didn't interfere, then Night Sorrow might have surrendered to the Nine Heaven world. Chi-Du said, Prince, if you perform well, there might be a possibility of marriage. There is still a chance. Ganqing said. He knew that his young master had always been thinking about Green Phoenix. Yes, after the war, I will find a chance to bring people to slaughter the Nine Heaven world. The Red Emperor's empire and the Qing Emperor's empire are opponents. What can we do if we attack the world they protect? Chi-Du's eyes were full of ferocity. This isn't appropriate. If the Qing Emperor's empire reacts strongly, then the subordinate world of our Red Emperor's empire will also be attacked. Ganqing was a little worried. He was worried that if Qidu really did this, it would easily lead to very serious consequences. If the Red Emperor was really angry, then Qidu's position in the Red Emperor's empire would drop. He, as a protector, wouldn't have any benefits. I will report this to my father. I may have to pay a price. However, it will cause a knot in Night Sorrow's heart and a serious negative impact on his soul. It is worth it. After all, Night Sorrow is now the first commander of the Qing Emperor's empire. He is also the beloved disciple of the Qing Emperor. If something happens to Night Sorrow, his soul will be covered in dust, and he will not be able to recover. I think it is still worth it. Qidu said his thoughts. LLDKT Plus 6 version debuts after listening to Qidu's explanation. Ganqing felt that it was quite appropriate. After all, Night Sorrow was a very important person in the Qing Emperor's empire. As for the Qing Emperor's empire attacking the subordinate world of the Red Emperor's empire, then the Red Emperor's empire would also retaliate. Both sides would suffer losses, and the final result would still be reconciliation. 2 days later, the Sky Heart Corps arrived 200 miles away from the Sky Tiger Pass and set up camp. At the same time, the Red Emperor's empire's army's order officially arrived. It ordered Qihua and Qidu to lead their men to attack the Green Qilin and Green Phoenix Corps. If the 9 Heaven Corps appeared in the area attacked by the Green Qilin and Green Phoenix Corps, then the Sky Heart Corps would rush over to help. After receiving the order, both Qihua and Qidu moved and teleported to the nearest city. This caused Night Sorrow's plan to fail. He, Summer City, and Fei Xiu also went to the nearest city. After asking around, they found out that the Qidu Corps had teleported to Jinling City, and that Jinling City was close to where the Green Phoenix Corps was attacking. Night Sorrow brought the few people around him and teleported to Jinling City. After arriving at Jinling City, Night Sorrow found out about the Qidu Corps' movements. The Qidu Corps was stationed outside of Jinling City. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow felt that the Qidu Corps was waiting. He wanted to find out the Green Phoenix Corps' movements, and then deal a heavy blow to the Green Phoenix Corps. Inform Nu Lin, tell Qing Lin and the Qing Yuan army to stop fighting for now, Night Sorrow said to the messenger beside him. Night Sorrow did this to stop the Qidu Corps from moving. This way, he would have a chance to deal with them. Your Highness, are you planning to deal with the Qidu Corps here? But this place is only an hour away from Jinling City. It's too close. There will be endless reinforcements. It will be very difficult to take them down, Summer City said. Chapter 1937. Hi forever for a long time, too free of charge, look at G Small. M said. Summer City nodded. He wasn't good at using battle tactics, but he felt that Night Sorrow's method was good enough. The most difficult part of this operation is destroying the teleportation formation. After I've arranged everything, Uncle Summer, you go to Jinling City and destroy the teleportation formation at the agreed time. Then, hide and pay attention to see if there are any hidden teleportation formations. If you see any, continue to attack them. Also, Fei Xiu, you have to go. I'm not strong enough, so you'll be in charge of destroying the teleportation formation. Night Sorrow said to Fei Xiu. Fei Xiu nodded. He knew that this mission was very important. Then I'll get to work. Uncle Summer, help me control the energy fluctuations when the formation is activated. After Night Sorrow finished speaking, he brought people to the area near the barracks and set up an illusion formation. Summer City used the will of heaven and earth to suppress the energy fluctuations from Night Sorrow's formation. After getting close to the barracks, Night Sorrow began to set up formations around the barracks. First, he set up an illusion formation to hide his body and hide the area where the formation was set up. Then he set up the strongest formation he could set up, the Heaven Sealing Deathlock Formation. This formation was born out of the Heaven Sealing Formation and the Heaven Sealing Formation. Although it was much weaker than the two formations, its power was already very shocking. It was very difficult to set up a formation that covered an entire barracks. Night Sorrow used nearly 3 days to complete it, and he also used a few thousand Saint Spirit stones. Night Sorrow set up a large illusion formation, and then set up a teleportation formation. After doing all this, Knight Sorrow returned to Heaven Tiger Pass and began to gather people. He left the Enping army behind to guard Heaven Tiger Pass. With Heaven Tiger Pass as a defensive structure, even if someone attacked, an army would be able to hold them off for a while. Looking at the assembled army, Knight Sorrow first knocked on the 9 layers of heavy armor. We are soldiers, so we naturally have to respect our soldiers and respect our soldiers. That's respecting ourselves. The Red Emperor's Chi-Du shamelessly massacred thousands of soldiers from the Sky Tiger Legion. I cannot accept that. Furthermore, the Sky Tiger Pass changed hands because of me. I am responsible for the massacre of the soldiers from the Sky Tiger Pass. I, Knight Sorrow, will avenge them. Hearing Knight Sorrow's words, all the soldiers knocked on their breastplates. The Black Tiger army even knelt on one knee. I've already arranged everything. What we need now is for everyone to kill the enemy courageously. Wipe out the Chi-Du army and kill them. Now everyone, start the teleportation. Knight Sorrow pointed his space splitter spear at the sky. Then, under the arrangements of the various generals, the 9 Heavens Legion began teleporting. All the soldiers were excited. They only knew one thing, and that was that the commander had already arranged everything. All they had to do was kill the enemy. Feeling that one teleportation formation was too slow, Knight Sorrow set up another one that was connected to the Sky Tiger Pass's main teleportation formation. This way, the 9 Heavens Legion could quickly teleport. This way they could retreat faster. When they retreated, they just had to destroy the teleportation formation that was connected to the main teleportation formation. As he watched the soldiers of the 9 Heavens Legion continuously teleport away, Yishan looked at Xiacheng. Uncle Xia, you can set off now. Based on the time, we will begin our operation in 2 hours. While you destroy the teleportation array, we will also start fighting. Fei Xiao knew Lin. I shouldn't have left His Highness' side. However, this mission must be completed by me. His Highness' safety depends on you. Nothing must happen to him. Otherwise, even if we kill all the soldiers from the Red Emperor's kingdom, we will still lose. Summer City looked at Fei Xiao, Nu Lin, and the others. All the generals nodded at Summer City. Then Summer City set off. Nu Lin, arrange for people to set up another teleportation formation. When we leave, we must be fast. This time, it will be a blitzkrieg. Once we finish killing, we will leave. No matter what tactics the Red Emperor's kingdom uses, they will not be able to surround us. Knight Sorrow instructed Nu Lin. Nu Lin nodded. He would carry out Knight Sorrow's instructions to the best of his ability. The 9 Heavens Legion did not have a Sky Adept Matrix Master, but there were many Matrix Masters who could set up teleportation formations. Knight Sorrow calculated the time. The time for the attack was about to arrive. Qing Emperor's Kingdom Guard, set up a formation and protect His Highness. Remember to stay close to him, Fei Xiao said. My Highness, Captain Fei Xiao will stay by your side. 7 Ju and I will destroy the teleportation formation. Chi-Du should have elites around him. You must have someone by your side, Qin Leitang said. Alright then, get ready. We won the battle against the Dark Abyss. This will be the battle that will determine our victory against the Red Emperor's kingdom. It's about time. Prepare for battle. Knight Sorrow exhaled and gave the order. Everyone in the 9 Heavens Legion unsheathed their weapons and waited for the order. I don't have any requests for you. Just come back alive. The celebratory wine at Sky Tiger Pass is waiting for you. When you kill the enemy, protect every brother by your side. Knight Sorrow looked at the soldiers of the 9 Heavens Legion, who were filled with killing intent. Then he activated the ceiling Sky Kill Matrix. The wind and clouds changed, and the energy on the ground rolled. The ceiling Sky Kill Matrix was activated, enveloping the Chi-Du army's camp and the area where the soldiers of the 9 Heavens Legion were. Knight Sorrow also activated the Illusion Matrix. The 9 Heavens Legion charged at the unprepared Chi-Du army. Qin Leitang and 7 Ju found the location of the teleportation formation. They led their men and charged over. Before the enemy could react, they destroyed the teleportation formation. Slaughter. The 6 armies of the 9 Heavens Legion had a combination formation. Against the unprepared Chi-Du army, it was a one-sided slaughter. Knight Sorrow led the Qing Emperor's guard and the strongest Angry Lin army to charge towards the main tent where Chi-Du was. Those who blocked the way were directly cut down. Soon, the group of people reached the main tent. Chi-Du and Ganqing led their guards and glared at Knight Sorrow. How is this possible? Chi-Du could not believe what he was seeing, because the 4 legions under his command were finished, and only a small portion of his men were left to resist. Nothing is impossible. When you used the 9 Heavens World Group to threaten me, I decided to kill you. At that time, it was because of our personal grievances. I endured it. But this time, you killed thousands of soldiers of the Sky Tiger Legion. I can't endure it anymore. The soldiers' souls can't wait either. Today you will die. Knight Sorrow pointed his space splitter spear at Chi-Du Ganqing, kill him at all costs. Chi-Du's eyes were bloodshot as he roared at Ganqing. I will take the prince away. For Ganqing, protecting Chi-Du was the #1 priority. He knew that killing Knight Sorrow would be difficult. Although no one here was stronger than him, Angry Lin and Fei Xiu were all monarchs. There was also a team of Qing Emperor's guard. Knight Sorrow wouldn't be so easy to kill. This is an order. Kill. Chi-Du roared and charged towards Knight Sorrow. Qing Emperor's guard, form a formation and kill. Fei Xiu didn't move. He shouted at the Qing Emperor's guard. The Qing Emperor's guard, the 3 high-level kings, were far stronger than those of the same level. In addition, they cultivated a combination formation. Fei Xiu felt that he could stop Chi-Du, even if he was a monarch. Chapter 1938. Someone has been here. The iceberg broke not long ago. They must have taken something away, a man in black said. Someone must have been here. They must have a map. I don't know who they are, but that's not important. What's important is that they are going to die, another man said. Young master is right. Their opportunity is your highness' opportunity, said the man who spoke first. They were from the celestial sect in the world of reincarnation. Their leader was the young master of the celestial sect, Ling Ju. The celestial sect didn't have a sky master, but even if they did, they wouldn't provoke them easily. That was because the celestial sect's inheritance was terrifying. Even without a sky master, they could still unleash the power of a sky master. As one of the young masters, Ling Ju was very powerful. He was already an 8-star king, but with a secret technique, he could fight against a monarch. Therefore, Ling Ju was confident when facing other teams. The person beside him was his personal guard, Wushan, who was also very powerful. Therefore, the 2 of them didn't join the other celestial sect teams. They formed an elite team. Then Ling Ju and Wushan continued along the Black Ice River. Knight Sorrow chose to go along the Black Ice River. Naturally, there were others who chose to go along the Black Ice River. It was just that they arrived at different times. Knight Sorrow had a map, but it wasn't the only one. It was recorded later. Therefore, some disciples of the big forces had it too. Knight Sorrow rode on the ice Qilin and moved much faster than ordinary people. He killed the beasts that blocked his way. If he couldn't kill them, he took a detour. King-level beasts were very intelligent. As long as the other party was willing to back off, they wouldn't kill them. Of course, it was different when the ice Qilin met the ice dragon. It was a natural enemy. Ling Ju and Wushan were also very fast. They moved forward while killing. Knight Sorrow avoided beasts, but they didn't. As long as it wasn't a monarch-level beast, they weren't afraid. On this day, when Knight Sorrow and the Ice Qilin worked together to kill a 5-star king-level snow lion, Ling Ju and Wushan caught up. Alone? Then don't live. Wushan, take care of him, Ling Ju shouted. Ice Qilin, let's go. Knight Sorrow knew that danger had come. He couldn't see through Ling Ju and Wushan's cultivation levels, and he had heard Ling Ju's murderous roar. Knight Sorrow's body flashed and landed on the back of the roaring Ice Qilin. He controlled the Ice Qilin to enter the Black Ice River and fly across the river. When he reached the other side of the mysterious ice river, he let the Ice Qilin crash into the ice mountain on the other side of the river. He also attacked with his spear and rushed into the mountain. The Ice Qilin's horn was in front, and it slammed into the ice mountain with all its might. Just like the mountain splitter mythical beast, it charged into the mountain. Knock the top down and don't resist, Night Sorrow instructed Ice Chilin. When Ice Chilin collapsed the cave, Night Sorrow's soul power burst out and pulled Ice Chilin into the 8-dragon cauldron. He smashed a bottle of soul-destroying poison and entered the 8-dragon cauldron as well. Then he mixed the 8-dragon cauldron with the crushed rocks and ice and hid it inside the ice mountain. Wushan also arrived in front of the ice mountain. When he was about to enter the cave, the ice mountain had collapsed, and he could not enter directly. After Ling Ju killed the snow lion, he rushed over as well. Master, the person disappeared when the ice mountain collapsed. He might have gone underground or gone deep into the ice mountain, Wushan said while bowing. That person is Night Sorrow from the Qing Emperor's dynasty. Ling Ju squinted his eyes and looked at the ice mountain. The one with the heavenly artifact? Wushan was stunned. That's right. Otherwise, why would a 3-star king like him be here? He was able to come here because of the heavenly Tao. Perhaps this is our opportunity. Ling Ju waved his arm. Under the vibration of the energy, crushed ice and rocks flew everywhere. He was going into the ice mountain. Wushan began to help as well. The heavenly artifact was more important than the ice dragon's bone. As they rumbled, Ling Ju and Wushan entered the ice mountain and cleared the collapsed area. However, there was no sign of Night Sorrow in the empty mountain. There was also no tunnel. Strange. Where did he go? Ling Ju was puzzled when he did not see Night Sorrow. Wushan did not say anything because he did not know what was going on either. However, after a while Wushan's body shook. Something's wrong. Why is my soul being corroded? Wushan's expression changed. His soul was being corroded to a very high degree. If this continued, he would not be able to hold on. Wushan did not have time to say anything else. He sat down on the ground and resisted the attack on his soul. At this moment, Ling Ju's expression changed as well. It was the same for him. His soul was being corroded. Night Sorrow's soul-destroying poisonous smoke had taken effect. Night Sorrow, who was not far from them, felt that this was an opportunity. It was not realistic to kill all of them, but there was a chance to kill one of them. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. Night Sorrow ate an antidote for the soul-destroying poisonous smoke and fed one to the Ice Chilin as well. He let the Ice Chilin use its energy to protect its body. Then, he rushed out of the 8-dragon cauldron and used the Great Emperor Reincarnation Slash on the meditating Wushan. At the same time, he smashed another bottle of soul-destroying poisonous smoke with his left hand. He did not show any mercy. In Night Sorrow's heart, Ling Ju and Wushan were different from Bai Yun's team. Ling Ju had already recognized him and would not leave easily. Therefore, he had to think of a way to solve this crisis. If there was a chance to kill him, then he would do it. The purple halo of the Great Emperor Reincarnation Slash enveloped Wushan. At this moment, Wushan was meditating. When he realized that he was being attacked, he immediately tried to break free from the purple halo's control and used his sword to block Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear. Following an explosion, Wushan's body paused and he spat out a mouthful of blood. His soul was attacked by the soul-destroying poisonous smoke. He suppressed it with all his strength and could not even use 30% of his strength. Dark Mountain had managed to block Yishang's attack, but his body had also suffered a violent impact. It was mainly because Yishang's attack had been too sudden, and he had used his full strength. Dark Mountain had not been able to withstand it. After the collision, Night Sorrow's soul-destroying slash also attacked Wushan's spirit sea and stunned him. However, at this moment, Ling Ju used his sword Qi to force the Ice Chilin back and slashed at Night Sorrow's attack path. Ling Ju knew that Wushan was severely injured because he was also greatly affected. However, he could not watch Wushan be killed. Wushan was his biggest support. Night Sorrow took 2 steps back and dodged the sputtering sword Qi. Then, he shot out the sky-piercing spear. He used the Void Extreme Kill. The sky-piercing spear, which had been upgraded to a king weapon, streaked across the sky and shot towards Wushan's head. Feeling the threat approaching, Wushan forcibly suppressed the soul-destroying slash and opened his eyes. He did not have time to dodge or block, so he activated his protective energy to the maximum. You're tuning in to the Lee May's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.